Good morning, everybody. Urban Gardening Chronicles here. I'm just going to wait for those who are up to join the chat, but I'm right here. Good morning. I'm here just drinking my tea, waiting for you guys to get in here, but good morning. Good morning. I'm here just drinking my tea. We'll wait for a few more to come in. How's everybody doing today? It's been a rough, busy week. Not rough, just busy, but glad to get to enjoy the weekend. Today and last night has been very windy, so I don't know what's going on, but the weather has just gotten a little crazy. For those of you who are here, just say hey in the chat. Let's see who's up and at 'em. Good morning, good morning. Here for the weekly sit down. Actually, I have a latte today, not tea. I upgraded to a latte. Someone gave me a coupon. So I got my hot drink ready. So get yours ready, guys. Let's all jump on here. We'll talk about a few things. Let's talk about a few things in the garden. Good morning, Nikki. Good to see you. I'm just here. I'm already sweating. Why when I have a hot drink? I don't know. I'll take off my sweater. It's chilly outside. Like I'm talking chilly. I think there's a tornado that happened somewhere, and we're getting a cold front coming through. Good morning, everybody. I see 3 of you, but only Nikki saying hi. So I don't know if you guys are hiding. You're popping in and out. But say hey. Oh, it's nice. Yeah, I like it kind of cooler. I don't mind the cool. It's more bearable to work in. But my tropical plants that are outside, I don't know if that's good for them. I guess it'll be okay because my tropical plants that are outside. My phone is okay. There you go. I'll watch the chat from my phone today. But the weather, the extreme 72. Let me see what my weather is. I have to convert it because we do Celsius. So it says 12 Celsius, which is 53.6. So 54 degrees. So yeah, the temperature dropped significantly because it shouldn't be 12. They were outside getting the heat, And then all of a sudden, in overnight, temperatures are just dropping so extremely. So it's making it difficult to, keep your tropical plants outside. I kept my Calamandan orange inside. I'm not putting it outside. I have it by the window. I have the window open. I don't put the AC on. I let the house stay at the temperature so that I'm not putting things into shock. And my house is not that hot. It's the way how my house is set up. I get a good breeze, a good current from front to back. So I actually don't need the AC on. And I don't cook during the day. I cook crack of dawn or late at night so that it just, this is what you got to do when summertime hits. Because I don't see the point of putting AC, and then people put the oven on. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, these extreme weathers are just causing a problem. Don't know what's see if more people come on. Just I'll just wait. For those coming in, please hit the thumbs up. I don't think anybody else is live. I'm just checking. Well, they have those channel growth lives, but I don't think anybody else is on. And I think last night we were up late on Stars Live. I got home after 11 and they were still on, and I fell asleep and left them on the live, so they're probably sleeping. Bougie and I think David was on there. But what's everyone's weather? Who else besides Nikki has wants to share their weather? So yeah, mine's 54 degrees Fahrenheit, which is very cool, considering it was like 80 plus during the day. So that extreme, and then the wind today was just ridiculous when I left, and that can put your plants in a bit of shock. So some things are making it difficult to plant certain types of food, and you don't want to go too far to the extreme of your zone, but you want to experiment a bit and try a bit of stuff. But yeah, this is weather is making it very difficult. And let's talk about the heat waves and stuff that people are going through. I'll put my camera on for well, I'll put it on in a bit. Drink my tea. I don't want to show the store name on the cup. Takeout cup. Unless they're gonna sponsor the Golden Arches, so no free advertising over here. But how are you guys handling the weather? I know everyone's complaining about heat waves in the south, but what are you doing to good morning, Audrey. Well, it's good to see you. How are you guys handling the heat? First of all, as on your exactly, they need to, if I want to show their cup on this live, they need to give me some coins. And plus, they don't even serve that much healthy food. I shouldn't be giving them free promo. But how are you guys handling the weather? I know I had to recently I had to put the camera on. I had to recently get a big hat. I always have a hat on, like a baseball cap, but it wasn't giving me enough peripheral shade. So I think many of us had to get like a big straw hat. That's helping. I always make sure I'm drinking water. And we shouldn't be waiting till we get thirsty. We should be drinking water consistently, like every hour. You make sure you pull out your water bottle, or I don't know, you have to find what works. But I know for my dad too, he's in his 80s, but we had to give him water. He goes, oh yeah, I forgot to drink. And that happens to a lot of us because we're just working, we're getting stuff done. No, you need to set an alarm on your phone when you're out in the garden to chirp every 60 minutes or 45 minutes, and you drink at least half of the water bottle. Have a big enough bottle. Yeah. Let me see. There's been a mixture of lots of rain, some heat sprinkled here and there, and mild weather, like a Cracker Jack box. Yeah, it's been crazy. And when it's hot, it's too hot. Then when it's cool, I don't know about over your area, but a lot of mosquitoes. There's been a excessive amount of mosquitoes, which is making it difficult, as well as the risk of West Nile and all these other things we have to worry about. So we have to, and I don't like putting bug spray on my skin. So I wear long sleeve just so I don't have to spray it on my skin. I put it on the shirt, but that stuff makes you feel so disgusting. Like I don't like wearing it because it makes me feel like I want to go have a shower. It's a waxy thing on your skin. And to be honest, it still doesn't work. Let me see what Audrey's saying. Yes, I waited too long yesterday and was miserable. I've been inside packing. Yeah, don't wait too long. I make sure when I go outside, I have the water bottle that's been in the fridge, not the freezer because it's too cold, but in the fridge. And I make sure, okay, I'm going to be out for 2 hours. I need to go through at least a bottle and a half. If I have a big jumbo bottle, I make sure, I take care of that. But it's very difficult. And as I think we were talking in other people's chats, we're getting older, and it's not as your body can't tolerate it as easy. But yeah, the bug spray doesn't work. I know the Skin So Soft does work, but I have nobody near me who's selling that. I don't have no Avon lady. So I can't get that. Yeah, I don't like the bug spray. It just, yeah. It's like after you finish gardening, you have to go shower, not because you feel so disgusting, and then you have to still shower again later because you're hot and sticky. Like it's just too much. So I wear long sleeve, long pants. I try to wear something high neck so they're not going down, and then I have my head covered. I have a straw hat and sunglasses on because the glare also makes you're squinting, and then you end up with a headache. But the weather is very difficult. But we have to just find ways to still grow our food and still keep ourselves healthy. So, of course, water. We all talk about water, but some of us need to take electrolytes because we're depleting our body of minerals, or maybe your body just operates differently and you need more electrolytes, because I get muscle cramps easily, leg cramps. And oh my God, if you had a leg cramp, it's debilitating sometimes. And it takes sometimes an hour to really loosen back up. So coconut water, you can buy electrolyte powder, but just, yeah, do what you got to do, guys. Let's not let ourselves get run down. And I remember somebody, my relative's husband, he's a diabetic, and he had instances where he was outside gardening or mowing the lawn, and then they would go out and check on him, and he was like on the ground, passed out. Either he had low sugar or something happened, and he fell and hit his head on like the wall of the house, or you're doing work, and wherever you fall is where you fall. So yeah, let me see here. I may have seen soft on Amazon. I think I saw it there once, but I'm not sure if it's overpriced. I gotta check it. I'll check it. I know I checked it the other night when we were talking about it on my Amazon app. I'm gonna plug it in now. But I remember it being like, a couple of dollars, like $5, $6. And they had a big bottle refill. Let me see here. It says here, bath oil, 739 milliliters, is $49. Doesn't that sound a little? $35. Like, it's like people go on Amazon and just start getting like excessive. I don't remember it being like $50 for a bottle. Then it says here a package of 2 is $96. Oh, I don't know what happened, but yeah, it's ridiculous. Yeah, a front came through and cooled it down. Heat indexes have been, yeah, the heat index was high, and we got a cold front, but our cold front wasn't good because there was a couple of tornado-like storms in northern Ontario here, and I saw some clips on people on Instagram and TikTok and stuff. But yeah, this is not good, and we've already had our spring storm. So I'm talking about weather. My topic was the crazy weather and stuff. I've noticed in my area. Let me just, before I go there. Yeah, that pricing is crazy. For those of you coming in, guys, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, guys. Yeah, $50 for one oil. I'd rather get bitten. Yeah, somebody's getting greedy. It's like the toilet paper scandal of 2020. But yeah, cool front came in last night, and tornado-like symptoms. This is like the third tornado-like symptoms I'm saying symptoms, but issues we've had, and every time it causes severe damage. So you guys may have saw on Instagram my tree, not my tree, but the tree, huge tree ripped out, snapped in half. People's shingles on their roof was flying off. Like, it's very expensive. It's very costly. But this wasn't normal in Ontario. This wasn't the norm. We'd have a freak storm here and there, but now consistently every spring we were getting 2 and 3 tornado-like storms. And people in these streets talk about weather manipulation. I'm not going to go into that. That's a whole other topic, and I'm not an expert in that topic, but I do believe there's been some things done in terms of trying to benefit certain areas and maybe water or garden or agriculture, and they do things to quote unquote help certain areas, but everything has a causal and effect issue, and what you're doing in one area is going to impact something somewhere else. And I think we're reaping the problems of it. So places that didn't have tornadoes and hurricanes and severe storms are getting severe storms, and those storms are more intense because the way how the housing developments are set up and the hills and the valleys, it's more intense, and the storm can't break down and dissipate as easily. That's a whole science altogether. So we have to watch people who are experts, but doesn't sell it anymore. I think they before you could find an Avon lady like so easy. They would just at the mall, anywhere, just like they're all over the place. Now I don't recall seeing anybody. I don't recall, I don't see that anymore. But yeah, this weather's getting out of hand, and it's getting very costly. And some people are having problems with their insurance companies because every year severe roof damage, that's not they don't want to keep paying it out. So a lot of people are having issues. So I don't know, how are you guys tackling that growing food? I think I'm gonna have to, even if I get a greenhouse, I'm gonna have to have it's gonna have to be nailed down. Another YouTuber had a greenhouse, had a storm come in, and the greenhouse was literally just, broken apart. His plants were blown around, all that work for all the plants. Most of them were damaged, if not all of them. And there were like hundreds of seedlings in that one greenhouse. So you can't compete with the wind, man. When the wind starts blowing, you can't compete with that. So it's becoming very difficult to, in some areas, not all of us, but to grow food because storms are coming through. Freak hailstorms. If a freak hailstorm comes, we had one last summer here. A freak hailstorm comes, all your delicate plants or that's it, ruined in one night. Can you imagine commercial farmers who are relying on that to sell to the stores? Let me just take my coffee. I don't want to see the advertisement. Like that's a huge thing. Good morning, G Mama. Good to see you. That's a huge thing, man. We're gonna have to find inventive ideas and ways to still grow food with the increased pressure on us with the bad weather. And for me, who has a short growing season, a freak storm, hailstorm, windstorm can completely devastate a whole growing season. Never mind commercial farmers. But commercial farmers here have industrial greenhouses, so it would take a really bad storm to decimate them, but that's going to affect food prices. And right now it's already expensive. It's already difficult. And it's just hard right now, I think. And the weather, we can't control the weather. So how are we going to deal with that? I think I saw G Mama, on your Instagram, there was a whole flood. That wasn't a flood. I think you said how did you word it? You said it was a rain. That was a flood. Cars were half underwater. If you get a flood now and affects your garden, all that, some of those plants may not recover. So now we're going to have to start thinking about that. I haven't planted my seedlings again. I'm behind, but some of these plants wouldn't survive these storms. I have a grow tent as well as a greenhouse. I haven't put anything in the ground due to the move. Okay, that makes sense because you're moving. But I'm going to have to invest in, I think, some kind of greenhouse-ish. But it has to be durable enough to withstand heavy winds and hailstorms. It wouldn't make any sense otherwise. Also, I'm trying to invest in a grow tent for indoor growing. This is, it makes it very difficult. It was a rainstorm. It knocked the power for 2 days. Yeah, we had a flood here uh, twice, 2 summers in a row in Ontario, and literally cars were just like swimming down the road. Can you imagine your car insurance, like severe damage? Sometimes people's cars won't work properly because it's been submerged in water. These things, yeah, the weather is an issue, but the aftermath of fixing and repairing stuff, and some claims don't get processed. It's costing us a lot of money. So how do we deal? We all like rain, we all like water because it helps our crops, water our crops. But hey, Lashes Journey, good morning. How are you dealing with the weather? Some of you are having severe heat. I think, yeah, Lashes has a shade cloth. I don't know how many of you guys have shade cloth, but some people might need that because even though I'm in a colder climate, sometimes the sun is so scorching that it's damaging the plants. And then overnight, an extreme cold, all this yin and yang is causing a lot of problems. It's very detrimental to our garden. And all the work that we put into it, it's like, and then with the extreme weathers, extreme heat. Let's talk about extreme heat. With the extreme heat, potentially you have to water more. I know talking to planter and about planting deep and techniques for helping to water less, and those are all being implemented on my end. But for some people, there's still a high volume of water they have to use just to sustain their garden because they haven't put the type of soil that will hold water and keep the moisture in. Like there's a whole process involved. So if you don't have a lot of water, it's not raining, but it's windy, it's hot, how do we still grow food? We're going to have to start thinking about that. Yeah, I do early morning deep watering, but then again, those mosquitoes, man, those mosquitoes. I have to go out there like ready and armed. And you have to put on glasses and you have to keep your mouth shut and hopefully block your nose because the mosquitoes just be flying in your face. Good morning, Gina versus Gina. But yeah, we're going to have to start thinking about these things now, not because we're in dire straits now, but based on like watching weather analysts and people who are, talking about global warming and all these different issues, they're saying basically things are going to get worse. Things are going to get more extreme. So we shouldn't wait until it gets more extreme to start like discussing and talking about it. Okay, thanks for listening and driving, Gina. We have to start talking about it now because if we wait, it's going to be too late. Because some of the things that we're talking about are probably going to require some kind of infrastructure and or purchasing stuff like a grow tent or getting stuff that helps you, either for me growing indoors in a more controlled environment, or keeping my seedlings indoors before the storms hit, or I don't know, like I'm just saying, we have to figure out what we're going to do. I couldn't get outside in that 98-degree weather, made it over 120 inside the green. Oh, wow. So what do you do with your greenhouse? Do you open it up, go out, open it up, let the air flow, and then just run back inside? Even that. Nothing that we do is hands off. We have to keep, what's the word? Like we have to do some work. So you have a greenhouse. You have to still get up, make sure you check the weather, open the greenhouse so things don't cook. And then if it's going to be cold, you have to go out and close it. Like there's still maintenance to be involved. And then maybe you have a thermometer in there that's like a Wi-Fi thermometer. I don't know, but exactly. Things still need to be maintained. Let me go down here. So let's just get some ideas too. We can't wait until there's a problem. So right now people are having a heat issue. And I was saying earlier, there's an extreme cold front that came through last night. My Jamaican sorrel's outside. It seems to be okay, but like this is affecting my tomatoes. It's affecting my hot peppers and my bell peppers. These are heat plants, and these extreme temperature changes are not good for the plants. But I can't control the weather. Nobody can. So how can I start using things to control the conditions so that I can enhance my growing season? Whoops, give me a second. I have to make sure I plug in the charger on the tablets. Bear with me 1 second. I'm still here. I just want to make sure I plug it in before it says, oh, you don't have any more battery. Give me a second. I'll be right back. But hold on the chat 1 second. Okay, I asked my sister to find me the charger because, as you know, my computer's broken, so I'm at their place borrowing their tablet. So let me see what I missed. Okay, you ordered those tabs to drop in the yard for mosquitoes. Haven't tried them, so I can't speak on it. I somebody sent me a video. I know that the Irish Spring works. They sent me a video. I'm gonna go purchase some after the live. I'm gonna go get some Irish Spring because this is, and I think the Irish Spring also deters the wild animals. So I'm gonna try that as well. I'm trying to find the charging thing for this this tablet. Okay, and let me see where I missed. So, Nikki saying those were fainting conditions. Yes, these weather is getting hot, and you can't wait till you have to wake up in the morning and start drinking your water so that your body and cells are already hydrated. Let me see where else. Open all the windows and let it out. Okay, so you open the windows of the greenhouse and just let it rip. Yeah, you have to, because that plastic's going to cook all your plants, and then all that hard work just down the drain. Let me see. Fainting conditions. Let me see. Maybe get some of those. Whoops. Hold on. Give me a second here. Maybe get some of those pop-up tents to lock in the heat for your plants. Yeah, exactly. I'm trying to get some things set up. Right now, I'm trying to set up the mesh protective covers from the squirrels and the animals and the groundhog. If you don't know about the groundhog, it's George the groundhog from, hey, Miss T with the T. Good morning, Marlon. I'm just seeing you guys now on my my cell phone chat. Thanks for joining in. Just talking about weather in the garden. And then once I get those things set up, I can put plastic over top. Hold on, let me take my coffee. Hold on. Don't forget the thumbs up, guys. Okay. Let me see here. Ession's Family Garden has a very affordable time. Yeah, I saw his video. I watched him. He had a good video. I put it on my favorites. How to get the temperature sensed to your cell phone so you can check the temperature. And then he had something set up which was very important. Good morning, Laughing with Michelle. I see you here in the chat. I haven't got down to you guys yet though, but I see you on my phone. And he has something that, like, he has a heater and a fan that kicks in with the solar generator. So that's what I'm blocking the camera. Sorry, guys. So that way it kicks in automatically. So it was very affordable. So I'm definitely going to try to implement that. So I like when people give us affordable options. And thanks for dropping the link, G Mama, to buy a coffee. If you want to support the channel, guys, that's how you can do it. Good morning, Marlon. Good morning, Miss T. You guys are just greeting each other, laughing with Michelle. Michelle's in the house. And okay, everyone's. So I'm going to drop the link as well, too. So we want to come up and talk about the weather in the garden, and also cold weather. For those of you who are trying to grow tropical plants, like I'm trying to grow my Jamaican sorrel, you're trying to grow different hot peppers, you're trying to grow things, and this extreme weather is just not really helping. How are you dealing with this? Let's share some tips. Hey, I'm trying to paste the link. I think that's it. Okay. How are you guys handling it? Because things are going to get worse, and they're not exaggerating. Things are going to get worse. This is many of us are trying to be more self-sufficient, and weather's not making it any easier. And whether or not you know about weather manipulation and what they're doing and that subject matter, the point is we're the ones left to try to fix it and resolve it, and to make the best, not resolve, but make the best out of the situation. So greenhouses are going to be something I think many of us are going to need. From what, even from elementary school, we used to do experiments about acid rain. And there's been more pollution since I was in elementary school to now me being a grown adult. Do we not realize and remember that the water that's coming from the rain, from the clouds, is toxic and poisonous? I think we're at the age now where our soil is being negatively impacted from all this acid and chemical, and it's affecting the way we grow our food. So I think most of us who want to grow outdoors or live in a warm climate are going to have to invest in some kind of greenhouse, grow house, hoop house, whatever you want to call it, so that we can control the soil and try to control what kind of water goes in there. So if you want to, charcoal treat the rainwater to make sure that you can remove as much as you can. If you're going to go through all that, some of us will be like, forget it. We're not doing all that. But we may have to, because we may start to find that the rainwater. Okay, you'll be back, Audrey. Thank you. We may have to understand that the rainwater may be actually killing our plants. I don't think it's come to that for everybody, but I think we're going to end up realizing that some of the problems we're having is a direct effect of the environment, the pollution, the acid rain. So we're going to have to create a more controlled environment to work in. Thank you for sharing me out, Nikki. Now, again, I'm not an expert. I'm just having a conversation because, it's becoming more difficult. And for me in a cold climate, I don't have much time to grow the food. I have to use the spring and summer and the early fall very strategically, because if I don't, I'm not going to have any food to store for the fall. All my winter squashes, I'm behind in planting them. I got to get them out in the next 48 hours. Let's drop the seeds and get the starts in the ground. So that way, by the fall, I can have my squashes, harvested, and I can put them. I don't have to can my squashes. That can stay on the counter or in a cold room or in the garage. I was eating them until February, March of the following year. So that's perfect. That saves me from having to can everything, and I can eat fresh food. So the weather is starting to impact us. What's in the soil? We're buying compost, we're buying soil. Most of the stuff that I bought, I saw pieces of plastic in there, like plastic bags, or so I don't know what they're throwing in the compost at the companies. They're just, I guess, heating it up and cooking it up and making it break down faster. But there's a lot of crap in that stuff. But I don't have any other options. I don't have any other choice. I gotta purchase something to start building my soil. So my composting is not enough to suffice. If the soil is already poisoned, even if you buy, I don't care if you buy the best top of the top, there's still stuff in there that we don't know about. That's going to affect the longevity of your garden or your homestead. You have to put something back and build it to be sustainable. And the things in the soil can probably even kill your plants. I don't know, guys. Like, what do you guys think? Let's just keep talking about it. Like, it's becoming almost in some countries, in some climates, they don't even have enough water. The rivers are drying up. Oh, you're back. Okay, thank you, Audrey. The rivers are drying up, the lakes are drying up, and maybe not dry, like, but they're depleting, little at a time. We need to start gardening and growing food in a way that's sustainable, but also conserving water. I think we've been just used to just like, oh, put the hose on, spray, do whatever. Oh, just sprinkle this. Oh, just gets. What if we can't get all those resources? What if things that we're getting are actually killing the food that we're growing, and we can't use it? What other options are we going to have? I'm posing a question. If you right now found out that you cannot trust the soil that you're buying at any of the stores. Hey, Gina, let me bring you up. If we found out, doesn't matter what brand you buy, that you cannot trust any of the soil that you're purchasing, what are we going to do? I think I would be up a creek, because if I can't rely on the soil that I'm buying, I think I'm up a creek. So multiply that by all of us plus the commercial growers. Like, what if? So we have to start figuring out how we're going to operate before that ever becomes an issue. Good morning, Gina. How you doing?
Good morning. I'm good. I was just listening, and I definitely, we actually had a cold evening in my state last night, which we were going from like 90, high 90s to probably 100 with the heat index. And then last night we dropped, I think it got into the 40s.
Yeah, because I was about 50 something last night when I converted it. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's frustrating, I think more so for us who are in states that typically have very cold winters because
Yeah.
our gardens feel like they're really behind because we're just now starting to get anything. And then the weather keeps juggling, so we still don't feel like it's moving forward.
Yeah, like my tomatoes, they were like really starting to like grow, but these
Hmm.
they're stunting my tomatoes. Like this,
Yeah.
it's so I'm thinking same thing back to some people. I might have to get a greenhouse just to sustain a controlled temperature in an area in my garden, just to ensure that I can get a crop of tomatoes and hot peppers and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And it may not be this year, but I'm gonna have to start considering it because
Hmm.
it will become a problem. The weather's changing every year. The weather
Yeah.
is changing. So
Yeah.
the Nikki's saying we got to build good soil, nutrition soil by burying those. Yeah, we have to bury all those scraps that you're throwing in the garbage. We're gonna have to
Hmm.
start keeping them.
Yeah.
I told one lady at church, my friend's mom. I said to her, "Why are you throwing out your banana peels? You can make banana water." She didn't even she's like a mature woman. She's never heard of compost tea. And I said to her that she said she has an outdoor garden and she cannot plant there this year because the soil she could tell is depleted. I said, but you're in Canada like me. What are you doing all winter? Are you not throwing all your leaves on there and all your stuff on there to rotten over the winter time so that you can? She's like, no. I said, no. So she has all these green banana, and all the yam peelings. And I said, put them in a bucket and soak them.
Yeah.
She's been
Yeah.
soaking them and watering her plants. And it's been 1 month. And she told me it's better than anything that she's ever purchased in her life. I said, bury
Yes.
all those scraps in your raised beds from now. And then next year you're good to go. But that's
Hmm.
why every scrap that we have from the kitchen, every peel. Marlon's saying we should use sand instead of soil. That is good for starting plants. I don't know. Anybody know if that's good for like growing food and sustainably? Can that grow food? Is that
I
for
don't know.
hydroponics?
I actually did buy a compost that was more sandy,
Hmm.
but I didn't use that. I used that with my soil, not like instead of. And I only liked it because it felt like it made the soil looser. Um, it was a cow manure. It wasn't the black cow because I also used that one. But
Okay.
I did like the fact that it was more sandy because I have clay soil.
So do
So
I.
it just allowed it to be a little looser.
So I have to. I think I'm gonna like dig into that in the future, like look it up because I know some of us on the YouTube. I saw somebody start their starts and their tree cuttings in sand, but I don't know if I could keep a plant in there sustainably, or do I have to put it in a hydroponics bucket with liquid fertilizer? Like I don't know, but that might be a good idea to see like how can we grow in another medium, and maybe that's an indoor thing, not an outdoor thing.
Yeah.
Um, Let me see what else people are saying. Oh, Michelle's saying, I don't know about the sand, Marlon. Yeah, I don't know. I know you can start seedlings in sand. I've seen that done. Use sand to start seeds or to grow in altogether. Yeah, because it's just a hypothetical. Like I've been buying soil in the store, and every time, it's not even the sticks that bother me as much. I'm seeing pieces of plastic bag and pieces of stuff that's not organic
Yes.
matter. That's not organic
Yes.
blue twist ties and all these things. I'm like, so are you just cooking in a big hot vat all this stuff? You're not filtering
Hmm.
it out. You're just cooking it all, and that BPA is now in the like
Yep.
yeah. So I care about my garden and you all care about your gardens. But do you think a commercial gardener is going to really go into all and say, they don't care. All they care
Yep.
about is at the end of the day, how much crops I've grown to sell to the stores to sell and make my money. They're not concerned about all this debris in the soil. So,
No.
you know, and then I was on my last live when I was doing the garden tour, I was telling you all my radishes and my turnips aren't bulbing. So Nikki mentioned I may need some fertilizer. So I looked up, okay, she mentioned like potassium and nitrogen or something along those lines. So I said, let me look it up. If I could not buy fertilizer right now, because my default is, oh, Miracle-Gro. No, if I could not buy Miracle-Gro right now, what could I use? So I looked it up. It said, one said, urine and something else. Well, that's up to you. Coffee grounds was one thing. The regular stuff, grass clippings, tea bag, like other stuff. I go, okay, I have all that. I have my coffee grounds. I have all this. I have grass clippings right here. So I put them all in another compost tea, put it on there, and I'm going to see what happens. But we can't always be running to the store. Half of the things that we have in our garbage bin from the food waste from the kitchen can be put into the garden. So I'm just trying to encourage us to start thinking out the box, in the box, thinking of when things are not readily available, because we all know from the news the current war in 2 particular countries, and that's where most of the fertilizer comes from. None of us, I don't think, have had any issues with finding fertilizer. It's available in all the big box stores. But sometimes things don't come down the chain till later on. If next summer there's absolutely no fertilizer,
Mm-hmm.
or very limited fertilizer, or it's so expensive that it's not worth you. It's there, but it's not worth you buying. What are your next options? Banana water, your cuttings, your grass clippings, your compost tea. Yeah, I know about compost tea. Do I have a barrel to do it? No. That means I need to go do my homework. I need to go get a barrel that's big enough to hold all this stuff so that I can benefit from the stuff. Otherwise, I'm just flapping my gums. And next year, we're going to have the same problem. Most places up north, the sand is mostly sand and makes up a soil composition. Okay, so you're saying mixed soil that's mostly sandy? Yeah, I'm going to look that up. Maybe our Marlon's right. Sand is our solution. A bit of soil and mostly sand, but not straight. Okay, sandy soil. Let me just see here. They don't care. It's all about the money for the fertilizer. We know that. I've seen, let me see what Audrey's saying. Sometimes this device it doesn't respond right away. You tap, but it doesn't. I've seen people who live in dry climates use a greenhouse that includes a water condensation system to water the plants. Yeah, I've seen that. And I've seen some people have like a pool or a hot tubby kind of thing in the greenhouse. And the evaporation helps with the watering and also keep the temp, because water can keep the temperature at a certain temperature in your greenhouse. That's actually cheaper than relying on heaters and fans, but you have to build that infrastructure. So that's going to cost some money and some, designing, but that's absolutely right, Audrey. That's an excellent idea. And that's what I would need to do, because I don't want to be relying on solar panels. That's another expense. A solar generator is another expense. All of these that we're talking about can be expenses, and we have to budget ourselves. So let's talk about it, and then you sit down and think what's best for my current situation, and then work towards making it better, so that next year, if there's a hailstorm, a windstorm, severe temperature fluctuations, we can still grow our food. That's the point. Some foods are cold tolerant, like lettuce, spinach, they're fine. But other things like your fruit trees, how are you gonna, protect them? You don't want to rely on the store. And if we're having problems gardening, the commercial farmers that don't have greenhouses, that is, are having issues. If they can't get fertilizer, those greens in the store are gonna double and triple in price, worse than it is now. I haven't bought salad in a while, but I know it was like at $5 for a pack of salad mix at the store. And then the recalls. Do we believe that they're always warning us about every recall? Like, do you really believe that I don't. I think they do it when they have to, and they always say, oh, it's a voluntary, like they're just doing it. I think you got called out. I don't think it was voluntary, but that's just my opinion.
I
Um,
I think that one of the things that I feel like with the shortages that we're seeing with stuff in the stores,
mhm.
the the urgency to get this stuff into stores, they are making mistakes. There's going to be so many recalls down the line. They are rushing to supply baby milk, and you think that they're not making some people aren't like making sure all the rules are followed to get that stuff produced and into stores. They're breaking some rules. So they're like, we'll get it out now, we'll deal with it later. So that concerns me a lot because there's a lot of stuff that's in the stores. Meat, like when you can't find meat and then now you can find it again for a little bit. They're mass producing it. How are they getting it that quickly? They're injecting it. They're putting stuff in the feeds to make them plump up faster. Stuff that's going to affect us, which is going to catch up with them somewhere down
later,
the road.
later, yeah. Then you hear about
Hmm.
those class action lawsuits, but I always used to laugh when I used to watch like American television, and they talk about like I don't know whatever medication, and then the end of the commercial was about 30 seconds listing 50 million side effects to this med. If you have blood clots, bleeding eyes, ears falling off, hair going off on your lips, teeth, having all kind. I'm like, why would I take that medication after the whole list of things? Like,
Exactly. All the side effects.
sign this waiver because you might have a third eye and an
Yes.
extra set of ears on your head, and you
You
may
might
have
get some.
a lump. Like it was just ridiculous. So this is the same thing with agriculture. Same thing.
Hmm.
Good
Hmm.
morning, Garden State Gardener. I see you there on my phone here. I'm not up to date here, but
Right.
it's. I'm not fear mongering. I'm just having a conversation, guys, because we need to start thinking what ifs, because so that we can prepare ourselves and be better prepared to respond if something happens. But we know right now
Mhm.
the supply chain has been messed up for 2+ years. Some people have no effect because maybe you live in a different area that all the supplies are always there and just the prices have gone up. But depending on your
Mhm.
economics and your demo, like it depends on what's available to you. So we need to be perfectly honest and clear. Some areas don't have what they're never going to have what they need because they're not a priority in the societal hierarchy. So let's keep it real. Some neighborhoods will not, they never focus on them. The affluent neighborhoods will always have their shelves fully stocked. And if you can afford to buy it, you're going to buy it. What about those who've already been impoverished? Never mind now with all the inflation. Um,
Mhm.
Audrey's asking, has anybody purchased beneficial microbes to amend the soil? This year, for the first time, I used mycorrhizal inoculates to do my seedlings, Audrey, and I think it worked because I had less transfer shock up potting. And I use a little, like a sprinkle, like literally a few crumble. It's a little goes a long way. But we have noticed in my parents' garden a particular bed every time we plant bok choy. There's these invasive bugs. So I don't know what that is, but yes, I have used beneficial microbes and I do think it works. I think you need to, that's helping to build your soil and
So
keep
what
it
is
alive.
that? What is beneficial microbes?
So there's basically soil has microorganisms, maybe bacteria, could be insects, it could be all of these things that compose the soil to make it alive.
Hmm.
And it helps, some of them feed off of the plant, which is not good. So you don't want those kind of stuff, but it helps to keep the soil as a living microorganism. And it
Okay.
helps make the nutrients more bioavailable to the plant. And they work together. The plant feeds the soil feeds the plant. It's a symbiotic relationship. But many of us have dead soil and or only have limited minerals in there and or have been relying on commercial fertilizers. So they're not
Okay.
getting the full depth of like composting your leaves and making them break down. They're not getting those microorganisms. They're not getting
Okay.
that bacteria, the fungi, like all those things make. So people are now selling it. But I think if you're doing a proper like permaculture style, you won't need to buy. I bought them because of my seedlings, but outdoor in my garden, some of the mushrooms are growing, so I know the soil's fine. That just told me right
Right.
there the soil is alive and doing
Oh,
well.
that's good to know.
Yeah.
Because I
So
had a lot of mushrooms in my soil, so that's good to know.
yeah, like I'm like, oh, what is this? No, your soil is alive.
Hmm.
It's doing something. Now,
Hmm.
I'm not saying go eat the mushrooms, but I'm just saying that means your soil
No,
is doing what it's supposed
yeah,
to.
no, I didn't eat them.
Garden State is saying I expanded my garden last year and have a section of mostly sandy soil. Good part is less weeds, bad part, the plants don't grow big and the amount of food is much less. Well, at least
Hmm.
in New Jersey. Oh, see, so that's good to know. So you're going to expect a smaller harvest. So if we have to compensate by having more sandy soil, we have to now expect a smaller harvest. So that might, that's good to note.
Lord. Yeah.
Um, G Mama is saying, so, oh, hey, planter, I see you there. I'm way behind. Sorry. Um, just give me a second here. G Mama saying, I also use a gravity irrigation system since I can't afford the water running time. Even if you could afford it, wouldn't gravity make more sense? Wouldn't it make sense to use a more efficient way of doing things that doesn't cost you money? I think whether or not you can afford it, I would use. My uncle uses gravity feed in Jamaica. Why am I paying to pump the water? And he's like, why would I pay for that when I can use gravity to my advantage? And if the power goes out or something goes wrong, he goes, this is still going to work.
Hmm.
So I don't think whether you can afford it or not, you use what you can and run it in an efficient manner. I wouldn't rely on use gravity. So everyone's greeting each other. Greeting. Let me see here. So planters in the house. G Mama, I'm borrowing your son this morning. Okay, Audrey. Okay. Thanks for hitting the like button, guys. Yeah, so we're talking about and the weather. Hey, Firefly Farm. I'm in and out. It's cold. Okay, thank you for stopping by, though. I see you here. But yeah, we have to just talk about these things. I know those of guys who don't know, Planter Garden talks about natural gardening and fertilizing, but this is what we're talking about. We have to start implementing these things now. Um, don't wait until things get bad. And the weather, you cannot control the weather. That's what today I'm realizing. Well, I always knew that, but today I'm realizing if I'm going to be expanding my garden. And I think it was Garden State Gardener whose greenhouse blew all over the place and he lost all his plants.
Oh
Exactly.
no.
He has three greenhouses and he plants a lot. Like he plants like 500 peppers, and the greenhouse blew all that work gone. So yes, it was in a controlled environment, but if you have a bad windstorm, how can we shore up our greenhouse so that we don't lose all our plants? This is something we have to think about. So he lost a lot of his peppers. You can watch his video. He shared it. He lost a lot of his peppers. So we can't wait until something happens. If someone shares a story, and we got to learn from it. So don't. I think Hands in the Dirt had an issue with his greenhouse leaking some water or something happened, and then he lost early spring all of his starts because the cold got in there and froze the tray or something to that effect, and he had to start all over again. He's in Georgia. He can grow almost all year round. For me, that would have been devastating. I would have
Hmm.
probably lost. I would have to go buy everything because you and I would have lost our season because we're in a zone 5B 6A.
Yep.
So that's unfortunately we don't have those luxuries. Like we would have been screwed.
Yep. Yep.
Um, Garden State saying, I believe there is a good medium to everything. Too much of anything is not, or not enough is always affects. Yeah, exactly. Too much of something or too little of something is not good. Thanks for dropping the link, G Mama, for the buy me a coffee. If you guys want to support the channel, you can support the channel there. And
Sis, I'm
fire.
gonna go back down into the chat. I just picked my daughter up and we're about to go to the grocery store, so I'm gonna go
All
down
right.
into the chat. All
Take
righty,
care,
but it
lady.
was great talking. Thanks. Talk
Thank
to
you
you
for
soon.
coming up, Tina.
All right.
Let me see here. And thanks for dropping the link for Gina versus Gina G Mama. It's cold and super windy here in lower New York State. Okay, so I'm in Ontario, so we had a bad wind last night. It was rough and it's cold. My brassicas don't mind. My good morning, Black Soil Urban Homestead. Um, it's just this yin and yang is not good. So many of us, I don't have a greenhouse yet, but I think That, like, for me, that's the next step. For those who already have a greenhouse, you're going to have to find a way to secure it better so that if a wind, like, you're not going to fight against a tornado, obviously. Like, I'm not saying that, but if you have a severe windstorm, you may be able to salvage more if the greenhouse is shored up better. How can we shore it up? You know, it all depends. So we're going to have to start thinking about these things, because for those of us who have shorter growing seasons, this can be very detrimental. Like, we can lose an entire season, or as somebody said, we'll have less harvest. So that's going to end up costing us more in the long run to go buy now groceries. So the weather, how are you guys handling the weather as well for yourself? Those of you in the hot climate, please, make sure you have a proper hat on. Some of you need to be having on sunscreen. Some of you, even though it's hot, need to be wearing longer sleeves. And there's this notion that the less clothes you wear, the cooler you're going to feel. But if you start taking a look at people who live in the desert, hot climates, dry, arid climates, do you see them in shorts and tank tops? You see them fully covered because your skin is less exposed to the elements. And in the long run, it keeps you cooler. So that notion of, oh, let me put on skimpy clothes because I'm hot and that's going to make me feel cooler, that's actually very inaccurate. So those of you who are outside maybe need to wear, and don't wear like these synthetic materials. My mom always told us to wear cotton. Go get yourself a good cotton clothing, pants, t-shirt. Make sure that it's long sleeve pants, long sleeve shirt for the mosquitoes. But people who live in the desert are, and then, oh, don't wear black, wear white. I don't think the color really, I think the material of the outfit you're wearing is more important than the color. That is a false notion. You're gonna have to do some more research. Thanks for dropping the Instagram. I think it was Instagram. But yeah, cover up. That will actually make you cooler. The sun won't be burning on your skin. You're baking yourself like a piece of chicken. Do you want to bake like a piece of chicken? What happens to chicken when it's baked? That's why some of you guys have a lot of wrinkles. Your body is wrinkly. Your skin can't bounce back from that. You'll look younger if you wear looser fitting clothes when you're in the sun and don't have your skin all exposed. Side topic, somebody that I know spent a lot of time in our youth at tanning salons. She did not, I saw her the other day and she looked like some baked chicken, some dry, tough, baked chicken thighs. Her face, even with the mask on, because we had to wear masks at that point, it was a few months ago, we were still required to wear masks, and her skin is just, for her, it would be better to put on weight and look fatter so that the skin would fill out more. But the sun, that's all sun damage. You sat for years going under UV lights, and now you worse than a raisin. Like, she looks bad, and she's a little bit older than I am. And I said to somebody, go to the side, I go, do I look like that? He said, no. I said, because she looked old. She looks older than her mother, and her mother is in her early 60s, and she looks older than, and I'm not exaggerating. This is no shade. She looks older than her mother. Her mother didn't spend time going to the tanning salon. Her mother just, lived her regular life. She spent so much time in the tanning salon to always look golden brown. Now she looks old. And for a woman, the better you can look for the longer you can look, that's kind of our leverage, especially in certain fields. You're in the news and whatever, your looks. You don't want to look like that. But she looked old. And she can't be, she's in her late 40s, like mid 40s. Yeah, you need to cover up. Stop going outside and oh, I'm hot, tank top and yeah, get a nice, good quality cotton and cover yourself up. Stick your pants in your socks so the mosquitoes can't get to you, because you do have to be concerned about West Nile and other things. Get a broad brim hat to give shade to you so you're not, and if you're outside to go and garden and work, that's what you're doing. If you're out to socialize and you're having a barbecue, then of course you don't have to do all of that. But when you're in the garden working, sometimes we're there for hours at a time, and make sure you have a water canteen or something in the morning. You fill it up, you put your ice cubes in there, and your phone alarms every 45 minutes, and you drink some water. If you want to add electrolytes, you add it, but you drink every, like clockwork. Because if you don't force yourself to do that, you're going to wait till you feel thirsty. And when you feel thirsty, you're already dehydrated. You're already dehydrated. Yeah, too much sun ain't good for nobody. And it's not even the sun. Sometimes it's just the heat exposure. Some people are not in the direct sun, but the humidity is just like, it's too much. You get fatigued, you pass out. Heat stroke and heat exhaustion are a real thing, and they're easily preventable. So if you know you're a person that forgets to drink, you forget to, have a snack, have your apple there handy, have your, some watermelon or whatever watery fruit, have it already packaged out in a cooler outside where you're just going to go and grab it and eat. Have your water, have your drink. We're all at an age. Most people on my channel who watch my channel are older adult, like mature adults. They're 30 and over. So we need to take care of ourselves, because I told you, my friend's husband has diabetes. He's out mowing the lawn. It could have been the heat. It could have been low sugar. Next, they see him out there on the floor. He banged his face against the side of the house, all cut and scarred up. He mowing the lawn, he fell down. Thank God these lawnmowers have an automatic shut off when you let go of the handle. All of these things, like, I have a towel and a rag, and just wipe your face. Exactly. Cooling towels, wet them, and exactly. If you're out there gardening and you have the hose, spray yourself with water. Wet yourself a little bit to cool down. Don't let yourself, don't be a victim to simple things where you could have fixed it. Please. We're all older and we have people relying on us, and you don't want to just like be taken out with that. I learned to cover up my skin oh yes, because you were in the military. I got sun. Yeah, and even that notion, people think that Black people cannot get sunburn. I think the only difference is that Black people don't spend time in the sun to tan. We already have a color. We might tan a little bit, but I don't think we go out and just sit there and just bake. We go out to swim, we have fun, but so we can burn. Skin is skin. It may take us longer to burn because we have melanin, but we can burn. So wear your cover-ups, get some good overall, and cover up properly. Don't, please, guys, because sometimes it takes weeks and days to recover from a heat stroke or even sunburn. That stuff hurts. It's like a third degree, basically second to third degree burns from the sun. So please make sure you cover up your shoulders and stuff like that. It's not worth it. But even back to that, we're talking about the weather and how it affects your garden. This is part of it. It's hot outside. You live in a hot climate. Part of making adjustments is some of you have to get up early. Some of you may have to do your gardening from 5:30 in the morning till about maybe 8:30 or 9, I don't know, whatever, and then go inside and have your siesta, like the Europeans do. Have your siestas. And go inside and all your major work has been done, and then you go back out in the late afternoon when it's cooled down, and you go back and do your garden. You're gonna have to make adjustments. And don't wait until the middle of the day. Like, you have to designate time. Get up early, do it. Maybe go back and take a nap. Oh, I don't like napping. Well, then don't nap. But I don't know how you can't burn the candle at both ends. So it's not too hot over here for me. It's hot, but it's not hot. So I can work all day. Have a hat on, I'm fine. Have my long sleeves. But for some of you, it's unbearable. For some of you, it's actually, you have no strength. You have low energy because it's so hot and humid. Don't put yourself through that just because you have to garden. Make some adjustments, make some changes in your approach to accommodate for the weather. Good morning, Triple Threat Firearms. Good to see you. Just talking about the weather. Let me have a sip of my tea 1 second, or my coffee 1 second. And that's good to know because that reminds me. So our G Mama mentioned she was in the military, if you guys don't know, and she was in the desert. So exactly, her training shoulder told her they're supposed to cover up. Don't go outside exposed. So for those of you, some of you guys who are in the military, share that some of that knowledge. We need to learn. We're doing things wrong. And how to cover up properly for a hot weather. And some of us need to learn how to keep warm during cold weather. Some of you guys have livestock and you're outdoors and you're going out and you're not dressing appropriately and your fingers and your toes could be exposed to frostbite, just as extreme. Some people are, growing indoors. And I think I can't remember who mentioned it. She was growing indoors. It was this week. And she was wondering why her tomatoes aren't doing well. But then she mentioned she put on her air conditioning. So if you're growing indoors and you're not keeping the climate that is suitable for those plants, you basically have your tomato plants in a refrigerator. They're not going to do well. So if you're not able to keep your house at a temperature for the plants, then you're going to have to make adjustments. Again, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm just having a conversation. Let's try to hash out some ideas. So if you can, and if you don't have the space, because some of us live in apartments, some of us in an apartment with no balcony, so you can't even put them on the balcony. It's very difficult. I don't know, maybe you have to only grow things that can be in a cooler climate and grow your tomatoes in the winter when you have the heat on. If you're I don't know how you're going to do it, but you're going to have to make sure your temperature matches what the plant needs. Because if you're not going to do that, you're going to frustrate yourself and you're not going to have success. So we have to observe the weather patterns, what's currently happening, and make adjustments. We can't be set in our current ways. The weather is changing, the climate is changing, the soil is changing, the rainwater is more toxic and acidic than it was before. We're going to have to make some changes, guys. This is not a fear mongering, or it's just reality check. So how are we going to change it? For those of us who have greenhouses, that's excellent. We're creating a nice environment for those plants, but that still needs to be maintained. You still have to make sure you're going outside in the morning, you're opening up that greenhouse, letting the air ventilate, because you can lose all your plants just by negligence or forgetting. Your animals, if your guys are hot and miserable now in this hot weather, what about your animals? I'm getting animals soon. Okay, you'll be right back. Okay, G-Mom, I see you there. If you have animals, those of you who have dogs, we all know Nikki's dogs have an air-conditioned dog house and a fireplace in there. Wow, like she got her dogs. If she ever put her husband in the dog house, he's like, I'm good, I'm cool. Just joking, Nikki, just joking. But her dogs are set up exactly. Are you considering your livestock? Do you have a place for your animals to go and get shade and shelter under a tree? Good morning, Urban Girl Gardening. I see you here. We have to consider these things because the weather is getting more extreme. Those of us who live, I'm in 5B, 6A, but the hot seasons are getting more intense. The cold seasons are getting more intense. The wind, the spring hurricane, tornado, conditions are getting more intense. The hate, everything is getting more intense, and it's getting more detrimental to growing your own food the traditional way. You can't just, most of us here, I am assuming, I think, have raised beds. We're not just going right in the ground. Clay soil is too hard to work. Hey, African Dreaming, I see you there. It's too hard to work the clay soil. So most of us have raised beds. That's an improvement. That's a change. We're amending our soil, but we're also buying soil. You have to take the good with the bad. Some of the soil, as I said before, is toxic. The rainwater is toxic. The tap water is full of chlorine. How can we use it to our advantage? We have to become very adaptable to how we're growing our food. Growing our food is becoming essential to life in any country, in any climate, because you cannot put your trust in the availability of resources like we did before. We have a high of 60 today. I'm outside with a hoodie. Yeah, I'm wearing short sleeve now because I'm in the house. I have to wear a long sleeve. And I told you the mosquitoes are there with their knife and fork and their hot sauce. When I come out, they're waiting for me. And they eat me like a piece of chicken, jerk chicken. I'm getting bites through my clothes in places that mosquitoes don't usually bite you. Like literally. And they come right to your forehead. Like all of my forehead was full of these call them cocoa. This is what happens, but you have to adapt because you don't want to get heat stroke, you don't want to get sunstroke, you don't want to expose your skin to too much sun. As I said earlier, it makes you look older. Oh yeah, they have their hot sauce. When you can see a mosquito flying in front of you, that just shows you how healthy and happy. Usually they're small. No, they're big. Yeah, they have their hot sauce. They have their Walker's Wood Jamaican hot sauce. They bite you all over. And I don't want to walk in fear like, okay, I'm afraid of West Nile. Then my parents' neighbor said they saw ticks, and he's always outside with no shirt on. He's like a shirtless outdoor working in the garden kind of guy. But if he saw ticks and he's actually paying attention to it, I'm not paying attention to ticks. I'm like, oh my god, I'm afraid of Lyme's disease. Lyme's. No, yeah, African dreaming. It's about 54 here, and that's from 80 something yesterday. So the overnight temperature. This is like our plants are getting confused. All this, hot, cold, windy, humid, no, then it's dry. Then your plants are getting confused. So some of us who do not have greenhouses or hoop houses or something over our raised beds are going to have a difficult time. And you see, I would assume that, oh, Tanzania is hot. That's in Africa. Every country has different microclimates, different, depends on the elevation, it's all of these things. But I had an assumption in my mind. And look, that's not right. He's in the same temperature that I'm pretty much in right now, even though he's in a quote unquote hot country. So just guys, let's just be adaptable to that. What else do I want to talk about today? Oh yeah, and just look up ways to compost and fertilize. So, if you find that I'm not getting good results with my radishes, they're not bulbing. Yeah, my butt, Nikki, I wasn't gonna say it, but you said it first. Yeah, they love the butt. I guess there's a lot of meat there, and you're not gonna notice them until after they finish biting you. So then you're like, why am my bum so itchy? Like literally like a 10, and you feel 10 lumps on one cheek. Never mind the other cheek. Then it just looks weird that you're just standing there scratching your bum everywhere you go. You're just scratching your butt, but yeah, it's not hygiene. It's like literally I've been eaten alive. Yeah, yes, Garden State. It's cold. It's cold. I'm just looking down on my phone for the chat to make sure I'm up to date. But yeah, greet each other, guys. Planting your plants can really. I think you missed something, I think planting your plants deep. I'm assuming because that's what you usually say. I don't know, but yeah, planting your plants deep helps. And some of us are gonna have to invest in shade cloth. For those of you in hot climates, I'm not telling you anything. It may work for you, it may not. But if you're finding that you're really the heat is really detrimental to your plants, you might have to invest in some shade cloth. Once the plants are in the ground, a greenhouse can't save them. Just gotta sorry, let me see. Can't save them. Just gotta hope they don't get stunted. Yeah, I was meaning more so like keeping your plants in a controlled environment. Like if you know you're gonna get a cold front and it's gonna dip like way cold and that's gonna put your plants in some kind of shock, having some kind of, I'm saying greenhouse or hoop house or something where your plants are in a controlled environment where you can take it off during the day when it's hot, put it back on in the evening so that the overnight temperature doesn't put them into shock. Because some of us, oh yes, planting your plants deep helps. Shade cloth works because I'm not in your area. I don't know. Like we can give each other tips, but some people, even though you as planter says, you plant your plants deep, you've amended your soil, you're composting, you're doing a lot of these things, but maybe the heat is just too much for your plants. And every time certain plants are bolting, they're always bolting. You have to always be replanting certain things. Some things are always going to bolt irregardless, but it might be worth getting shade cloth because, as I said, okay, Nikki, be right back. Hey, talk with Tori. I see you popped in here. You may have to invest in certain things that you may have not wanted to buy before, because the weather is not getting better, it's getting worse as a result of natural occurrences and unnatural interventions. We'll just leave it at that. Chemicals in the air, you know, uh, environmentalists doing certain things, testing, government, all of these things are affecting the weather. So if we think it's just going to stay status quo and be the same, it's not. So some of us who have excellent gardens, excellent homesteads, we're doing well, we're killing it. You always have food, you can sell food, you're giving away food. Kudos to you. But you may, not for sure, but there may come a time when things start happening and you're just wondering why. Nothing to do with what you're doing. The weather is a problem. The fluctuations are a problem. Something's in the soil, that's a problem that could have been brought in from a foreign source. It could have been brought in from compost that you purchased, some kind of weird bacteria or something. It could be something in the rainwater. It could be an overhead plane or some kind of, governmental something that they drop something in the air. I don't know. I'm just saying, maybe, kind of, sort of, coulda, woulda, who knows. But that may interfere with your garden. So what is the next solution? Trying to control the environment. And control just means finding ways to grow, either in ground, in containers, outdoors, indoors, but you're not exposing the plant, the soil, the water to external things without filtering the water. We may come to a point where you have to filter the rainwater in certain areas before you even water your plants, because there's so much chemicals going on in your area that you may have to offer some kind of filtering system. What does that mean? I don't know. But sometimes filtering means an outdoor pond area, fish, charcoal. There's layers to this. I'm not an expert. I'm just talking through. There's natural ways to filter the water before you start using it. That's why people use aquaponics. They fish, it's filtered, it's clean, all the filth from the fish goes into the plants, and they have a closed loop cycle. That's all I'm saying. We may come to that point that in certain countries, not every country, because some people have good environmental practices, but in Canada and the US, we don't have good environmental practices in terms of, as a country, industries, greenhouse gas, like all of this stuff. And I saw a sign in my neighborhood, some kind of aerial spray for the trees. And there's going to be a public meeting. I don't even know what that's about, but guess what? I'm going to be at that public meeting, because what are you spraying in the air for the trees? Is this to kill the invasive beetle? And how's that spray going to affect the environment, the air? That's going to go into the rainwater. That's all I'm saying. Some of you are living in the country where this is not even an issue. What I'm saying is, it's like, that's for city people. You're probably right. But we have to start thinking about these things. Okay, Kiki got you. It's just crazy to be so cold in the middle. Exactly. So I was saying my Jamaican sorrow now is outside enjoying the heat, but now last night it was like 50. No, it was less. It's 50 degrees this morning Fahrenheit, but last night it was cold, like sweatshirt, flannel pajamas cold. And it was hot like fire the day. Like it's not normal. And then exactly, we're going to get hot again. So I'm just saying, guys, start thinking about things now, because all these fluctuations in weather are not a one-off. They're going to start being a normal part of gardening for many of us. Getting 90 degrees and still not wetting them on, they are doing, yeah. And what you're saying is correct. And you've been doing it for so long that you know it works, and you've created a lovely microclimate there in your area. But for some of us, like, I don't know, Planter, you could probably speak on this. How would that work with a container? Like, maybe for me, who has a container garden, it still may be worth having a shade cloth, let's say, if I'm in a hot climate, because I can't plant any deeper than the pot. I'm going to go for about another half an hour, because I do want to, if you guys didn't, I don't know if you guys know, well, I said it before, but I got my chicken coop, and I'm going to be assembling it today and working on something with my dad to get some coverings for the my raised bed, so I can plant the rest of the stuff. But yeah, let's discuss ideas, because Some people have different situations. That's how people say sick. Oh, goes, oh, the cold fluctuations. Um, so that's all I'm saying, guys. We all have different weather patterns and different things affecting our weather patterns. Um, and I'm going to be investigating this aerial spray thing. Because if they're spraying to get rid of invasive bugs, is there not another solution? I don't know. As again, I'm not an expert. They have experts paid to do this and to we got some rain 2 days ago. Oh yeah, Lashes. And I think you got your rain barrel, right, Lashes? Your husband got the barrel? Yeah, because you have to be bending down, catching the water and pouring it off. The barrel's gonna make it easier. There are factories that leave residue on the nearby neighborhoods. I would never use unfiltered rainwater on that's what I'm saying. Some of us are living in areas that there's a heavy industrial presence and they're poisoning the area and so forth. Okay, so planters saying we have to use a big container so we have room to work. Okay, so that's what you're saying. And I think I've been doing that because I make sure now that I try to buy pots that have a water reservoir at the bottom, self-watering pots. And if I can't, I'm trying to put like a little basin underneath it that the pot can fit in so that if it rains, there's a little reserve for the plant. But I don't have to filter my rainwater yet. But I'm going to find out about this aerial spray and see, because maybe I'm going to have to either like sprinkle, I don't know. I have to research, but I'm just thinking off the top of my head, sprinkle some charcoal in the rain barrel and that would be enough. I know people put for their hose, their city water, they put vitamin C powder in there and that alkalizes the water. Just things. I don't know, guys. We're gonna have to find new ideas and new ways to solve these issues without relying on chemical resources. And I do want to touch on a topic that Planter mentioned Thursday night that it came up in the chat, and somebody else mentioned it. I saw it somewhere else after Thursday night. A lot of the products that we're using on our bodies, especially women with hair care, maybe women of color, we have different hair texture. We use a lot of products. Women use of all races use gel, pomades, hairspray, aerosol hairsprays, hair color to cover the grays, anti-aging. All the stuff that we're putting on our body is full of chemicals. Okay, you got a rain barrel full of chemicals that, and then we're talking about, oh, the food, oh, I only eat organic. What you're putting on your body is more detrimental and deadly than eating a GMO broccoli or a GMO corn. It's just as bad, if not worse. So a lot of the skincare products that we're using on our bodies, especially women like to beautify themselves and the cosmetics, just be conscious of what you're putting on your body and why, and invest in companies and products that are making natural things, because you're really killing up your endocrine system, your hormones, your those things are latching onto you internally and it's not being able to be passed out because your liver is overworked, your kidneys overworked, and that's ending up in your cells. And people are wondering why they're getting sick. So, all this anti-aging cream, like go back to some of the old time remedies, vitamin E oil, castor oil, coconut oil, I don't know, whatever. Find natural products. If you're gonna dye your hair, and none of us want to look older than we are. We want to look young as long as possible, but you know, maybe you're gonna have to find another. It may cost you a bit more, but we need to be very careful of what we're putting on our body, especially the cosmetic beauty products, the deodorant. I don't know if what you guys are doing, like since the pandemic, you're home. Do you really need to put on antiperspirant? Like, do you know what antiperspirant really is? It's stopping your body from doing what's natural, which is sweating, which is releasing your body of toxins. And many of us women are putting on antiperspirant, which is right near your breast area. And there's breast cancer. Is it linked? I don't know. I'm on an online platform, so I can't say. I'm not a medical professional. I'm not a scientist. I'm just talking. Are they connected? What do you think? Do you want to walk around stinking? I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying be conscientious of the products that you're using and what's in those products and the end result of those products. Because I know somebody who's going through cancer, breast cancer treatment for the second time, and she's not 40 yet. She hasn't hit the age of 40, and she's gone through her going through second chemo process for breast cancer. She already had, I think both breasts were taken, either fully removed or removed. What's the common denominator? I don't know. I'm just talking. It's for you guys to start delving deeper and check your own family history. But if someone got cancer twice and they're less than 40 in breast cancer, is it linked to cosmetics, to antiperspirant? For sure, food. I definitely know food is always one of the main factors, but we have to start doing things different because some of the stuff is so for me, I don't wear antiperspirant. I have a natural deodorant. If I'm going out to like a formal function in the hot summer day, I may say, okay, I'm going to put on antiperspirant so that I don't have to worry about going to freshen up. But on a day-to-day basis, I'm not wearing that and I don't smell anymore. Why don't I smell? Because when you stop eating certain foods, you don't have that smell. When you practice good hygiene, you're not going to smell. And when you use the right products, you're not going to smell it. And some people are using, I think there's key lime, there's things still, guys, just do your research. There's things that you can use that are not going to be toxic to your environment. But if you already have a history of things in your family, the cosmetic industry also is not your friend. The pharmaceutical industry is not our friends. The financial industry sometimes is not our friends either. Everybody's out to make their money and get the biggest piece of the pie and the largest market share in the industry that they're promoting. So just take a look at what you're using, look at the ingredients, and look at the side effects in those ingredients. That's all I'm saying. And when you start delving a little deeper, you're going to have to start making, I would think, better decisions because now you're going to know and you're going to be more like, oh, like, just be conscientious of what you're putting on your skin, on your body, and there are other solutions. We've been marketed one thing all of our lives, but there are other solutions, even down to the toothpaste that we're using that is also very toxic. Like some of the stuff that we're using is extremely dangerous. Let me have a sip of my coffee. I'll be right back, but I'm still here. Let me have a sip. Okay, guys, so I'm going to start winding it down. So what I'm looking at the chat. What do you guys want to just bring up? We can just pop in and have a I'll put the link up. You have a 15 minutes of I guess we can call it what's on your mind. Whatever's on your mind, we can just talk about it. We talked about gardening, we talked about the weather, which is also very important, and just think about ways that you can start adapting. That's all I'm saying. Don't wait until things become a problem because that would be too late. But I put the link up. You guys want to come up? We can have what's on your mind. Just bring up some stuff. It doesn't have to be gardening related. Just things you want to bring up. What's on your mind, or what plants are you having trouble with, or what's just anything. It doesn't have to be gardening. And thanks for coming in. I appreciate you guys coming in. If you haven't already, hit the thumbs up button. Thank you so much to the mods for moderating. Those of you, I have a Bobby a coffee. It's on the screen passing by. If you want to support, you can support. But like and subscribe and share. That also helps all of us with our channels. We're all trying to build. But anyone who wants to come up, man, just come up and we'll just chit chat for a bit. I'm going to be starting my chicken coop, as you know, shortly. So I hope to get it accomplished. I'm going to say today, but nothing ever goes smooth as planned. So maybe it'll get done by Monday. I know I'm going to have to make some upgrades to it because I know some of the latches are not going to be very sturdy. So I'm going to have to get some other latches. I might have to caulk the roof to keep water from going in because I'm sure it's not made like. So I'm going to have to probably get some sealant and some caulking to seal up the area. Um, I'm watching chicken videos just to understand how to keep them cool, because that's really what's more dangerous than the winter. They're okay with winter and just keeping the moisture and down in the coop so that they can, you know, have some ventilation and the predators. So that's what I'm focusing on. Um, and that's it. I'm also trying to focus on water purification for me for in the house. So I know people talk about certain brands of water purifiers and the different price points, but I'm definitely going to be considering that. And my rationale for that is my parents grew up Caribbean. Hey, Miss AKA Lady, good to see you. Okay, take care, Garden State Gardener. Thanks for popping in there. Appreciate that. Um, many of I do boil my water. We're Caribbean, so we boil our water, cool it, we put it in the fridge. That does kill. Oh, see that I didn't want to say the name, but okay. Triple threat. I didn't want to say the name, but I'll ask you in a second. So I do boil my water. So from last night, it was mentioned that it does kill E. coli and certain things, but I'm pretty sure boiling doesn't kill everything. Now, if I get water filtration, what's it filtering out? I do understand that people throw stuff down the sewage, down whatever, and really, we're no, don't have to apologize. I'm just saying I didn't want to mention it, but you mentioning in the chat's okay, um, because people are throwing things in the water. Like for instance, people don't dump their medications at the pharmacy; they just throw it down the toilet, and then that's being filtered at the water plant. But they're not equipped to filter medication. So many of us are taking medications daily from the public water system that we're drinking. So, yeah. Then there's other bacteria and things. So now water filtration. So, Triple Threat mentioned Berkey. Is Berkey the only one? Like, if you can't afford a Berkey, what else is out there? So I see people mention Alexa Pure, and I think Alexa Pure, they're saying only has one filter, but it's the same as having all the different ones from Berkey because I think they have three, and the filters aren't cheap. And then there's one I see on my Instagram feed and on even YouTube, I think, Santivia. Is that okay to buy? Okay, Taquatori, yeah. It's my email's on the about page now. So I'll look out for it. Are we like I'm trying to buy a water purification system. I'm trying to keep within a budget. But then you don't want to be so cheap that you end up buying something that's actually useless. You should just have spent the extra. So I'm just asking anybody in the audience here in the live, have you thought about water filtration? I know most of us, well, I have a Brita. I think most people kind of had a Brita, before. I boil the water, let it cool, I run it through the Brita, it stays in the fridge. I do find myself, yes, Ms. AKA, I'm talking about a home filtration system. But like my parents have a home filtration system. My sister has one, but I'm thinking of not bothering with a home filtration system because I don't think I'm staying in this home indefinitely. And I do like the idea of it being more portable, that I can take it with me if SHTF happens or something happens, or I don't know. If something happens, I can take that device, even though it's not small, in the vehicle and go where I'm going and still have water filtration. That's what I'm thinking. But the home one, faucet attachment, they have ones for the counter, they have ones for under the counter. But the Berkey, the Alexa Pure, and the Santivia is like a canister or something that you can put on your counter. Yeah, it takes up room, but if you have to take it somewhere else to another location, you can. I'm just asking, do you guys have water filtration? Whether it's expensive or not? And what other companies are out there? Because I guess Berkey's like the Cadillac. That's like the top of the top. Are there any other ones that are not as top but just as good? And if you don't know now, you can put them in the comments on this video. I personally think that we can't live without water. Like you can go so many days without food, but the human body can only go, I think the stereotype is like 2 or 3 days, but I recently learned that that's not true. You can't go more than like a day without water, because after that you're starting to deteriorate. Your body's going to start shutting down. Your organs are going to start shutting down, and things are going to start happening very quickly before you even get to the second and third day of no water. So water is more important in some regards than food, because even though you're hungry, you can eat one meal a day, you can eat one meal every 2 days to sustain yourself, but you cannot go without water. And I don't trust the water that I'm getting. We're basically drinking sewage water. All the water goes from the toilets, the sinks, the showers, and this and that. They clean it up and they put it back. For a first world country, we do some stupid stuff, like really stupid. Your sewage should be sewage, and your drinking water should be drinking water. But we think that chlorine is going to solve all our problems. Like, I don't know what you guys think. I just think it's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard. I prefer being in, like in Jamaica, where you catch water and you drink rainwater. Your toilet water goes down the sewage, and it goes down, especially if you have a pit toilet or whatever, and the earth and the bugs and all stuff clean up that water. It goes back down and ends up back down to the water table cleaned. And like it's the most stupid thing. And now we have to go buy bottles in plastic, water bottles in plastic by the cases so we can drink it. But we don't even know if that's really spring water. To dump those bottles in the recycling, and it doesn't get recycled, to clog up the oceans and kill like. Do we see what we're doing for convenient? Like, it's just stupid. But let me read your comment, Miss AKA Lady. Sorry, I'm behind. Yeah, it's a home system, big investment, and you want to be there for a while. Okay, see? So yours is probably the filter system. See, yours is probably the good one, because what people don't realize is when you shower, yes, that's your next comment. The water that you bathe in is just as important as the water that you're drinking. Back to the point with what you're putting on your skin, the cosmetic problem. Good morning, Angela's Canvas Delights. I see you there on my chat. Good morning to you. We're going for another 10 minutes or so, but exactly. So I know they have the shower attachments that you can filter your shower water, and I'm going to be getting one of those. But the whole house, exactly. If you're going to get a whole house system, that means that you're in a home that you're going to be in for a good while. And when you sell your home, that may be a good feature to show that you have a full water filtration system. And for someone buying a home, that may be very appealing to them. So yeah, that is X. So you're even ahead of what I'm saying, because the water you're bathing in has also been filtered. The water that you're using to wash your face, brush your teeth, has already been cleansed. That's what I'm talking about. But for me now, it's just going to be the like a device, like a water filtration to my drinking water, and I'm going to buy the shower head attachment to filter my shower water. So that way, I'm no longer putting all that chemical on my skin. Triple Thread is saying, "Oh well, yeah, it does improve your skin. I'm telling you, the stuff in the water is not good." Miss Angela's Canvas Delight. Miss Audrey's saying, "I'm looking into a Berkey. I'm also looking into building my own." Yes, I heard yesterday that you can build your own. So I'm just looking around to see. Like as I said to you, I saw something called Santivia that they said, is a good water filtration. It's not a Berkey. It's not stainless steel. I think some of the components are plastic, but it's supposed to be BPA free. Like, you know, there's risks to everything. You take the good with the bad, but I think that may be a good start for me now to at least improve the water that I'm drinking. It's not the Cadillac version yet, but it's definitely better than the Brita or just the tap water and just boiling, because boiling doesn't get out all the different stuff that's now in the water that wasn't in there before. Not a result of nature, a result of people just dumping things down the toilet, down the drain, because they can't be bothered to dump it properly, and that's all in our water. Let me see what I'm missing here. You guys are just saying hey to each other. It was definitely a personal and resale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that will definitely add value to your home when you sell it. But for me, like, I have to really think about that, because am I staying here a couple of more years? Would it still be worth it? I'm not sure. Maybe. But when I get a home that I'm thinking I'm going to live in, like more longer term, a full house water filtration system definitely on the top of my list. So I'll drop the link one more time, guys. If you want to come in, we're going to go for another like 10 minutes, which I said that like 15 minutes ago. But seriously, because I want to go get the chicken coop built. You can come just say hey. And then everyone has their Saturdays filled up with stuff. We all know we got things to do, groceries to buy, house to clean. Let me see what you're saying. Do you guys collect rainwater? My city tells us not to play in the outdoor sprinkler system because it's reclaimed water. But I'm putting that same water on my plants. I feel no. Okay, no. We collect rainwater and we use rainwater to water our plants. Nothing wrong with that. What I was saying earlier in the chat is because some areas, it depends where you live. As I said, we all are in different areas. And if your area has a high chemical, chemical dumping, there's industries, there's pollution, then I was saying earlier, we may have to come to a point where we filter the rainwater before we water our plants with it. So I don't know what they're warning you about, what reclaimed water means. I don't know what that means, but it depends where you live. But right now, oh yeah, I use the regular old rainwater. I water my plants with it. I make sure I'm using compost tea for the most part. I try, or a liquid feed to feed the plants, because you do the best that you can. But if you find that we're gonna have to just take more note of what's happening to our plants. If you find for your situation that you're watering with rainwater and your plants aren't doing well, and you've eliminated everything else as a problem, then maybe it's the water. And it's nothing that you're doing. It's just there's chemicals and there's stuff. As I said earlier, you may have not been on the live. I saw a sign in my neighborhood about some aerial spray for the trees, and they're having a public meeting. I hope I didn't miss the meeting, because a sign, it's like a billboard that you have to drive by, and there's never any like correspondence to your house where you can just like, find out. So, and if you don't drive down that street, you'll never see that billboard. It's not like on many streets, it's only on one street. So are they spraying for bugs and insects? Are they spraying for, like, I don't know why they're spraying aerial spray. And that aerial spray, once it's in the air, comes down in the rain. So it all depends where you guys are living. We may have to come to a point where you're filtering your rainwater. Are we there yet? For the most part, I think no, but it depends where you live. But I don't think you should feel a way about watering with rainwater. That's just how it is. Okay, so I don't know what reclaimed water. Hold on. But if it's not healthy to play in, if it's not healthy to play, it's not good. But it could be. Now, I'm just talking. I'm not a scientist or anything. Sometimes water and things have bacteria in it that, if you put it like, children or adults, could be deadly. But if you're watering your plants, your soil is alive, and your soil has organisms that can potentially clean and do all that stuff in nature. Nature has its own insects and bugs that clean up stuff. So I wouldn't be overly concerned, but you do have to, exactly, what does reclaimed water mean? It can't be any worse than my tap water, because that's basically sewage water that's been bleached, and they put it right back out and we drink it and bathe in it. So it can't be any worse than that. But when we're starting to see like harsh chemicals that are literally, when you water your plant, the next day it's shriveled up and dead. When we start seeing those kind of things, and I I really think we're going to come to that, because the industries are not improving environmental practices. They're actually getting worse. So do I believe in some future date we're going to have to filter our rainwater? Yeah, I do believe that. Do I believe it's now? Not quite yet. I think nature can still clean up the water, but playing in water, I think the danger is when you're playing in water, it's going into your eyes, your mouth, and your nose. Those are your quote unquote, your mucous membranes. That's where you get sick. That's why this whole pandemic for the last 2 years, that's how you get sick, by taking your dirty hands. But if water is dirty and it's hitting your eyes, your nose, your mouth, you're ingesting it basically. That's how you get sick. But I do believe your soil has microorganisms that can clean and do things that your human body cannot do. Triple Threat says she has two 50-gallon rain barrels, and she says she also I pull out two sleds and 5-gallon buckets as well. I'm greedy when who you telling? I've been I I'm collecting rainwater. I'm running out in the rain to put more buckets down to catch any drippings from the east. Like, yeah, it's come to that because rainwater is good. You have I have drilled holes in the bottom of everything. Yeah, because you're planting in them. Anything you're not plant, and if you're gonna collect rainwater, again, I'm not a scientist or environmental scientist. I'm just saying, do your research because you can't just leave water sitting around and let mosquitoes and bugs breed. You have to either put the mosquito dunks in the water. Mosquito dunks are not dangerous to your plants. It's a natural occurring bacteria, but do your own research, please, because nothing is, or I put for me, I squirt a little bit of Dawn dish soap in the water, not a whole bottle, just a couple of squeezes to keep that soapy membrane on the top. Let me take off the comment. So that, on top of, a pot, you see like a little oil, but not oil, a little bit of soap. When the mosquitoes lay their eggs, the eggs can't go anywhere because the soap keeps them trapped. So don't pour a whole bottle of soap. I'm not saying that. I'm talking about a teaspoon or a tablespoon on top of a 50-gallon drum holding water. That's what I'm talking about. It's cheap. It's affordable. It's hey, hands in the dirt. I see you here. Hold on, I'm behind. So, um, you know, okay. So you have holes in the bottle. Okay, hands in the dirt. Okay, good to see you, brother. Triple Threat is saying, get a minimum of 5 water. 5 water goes faster in the hot summer months. Yeah. So, but make sure you have the proper. I have been hoping the plants and soil. Yes, exactly. The soil and the plants will filtrate. I I I I believe that, and it's based on some information. I'm not like totally ignorant, but I do believe it's going to come to a point where um Triple. I don't know. I think Triple's going to answer you. I think she's in. Where's she in? I think she asked you what state you're in. Triple Threat. I don't. I think you said you were in Georgia. I think when I on another live, I think you said Georgia. I think or Florida. I can't. I think you said Georgia. Oh, I use neem. I'm using neem oil for the first time, and I like it. I had an aphid infestation out of this world on my bok choy and my cabbages, and I sprayed consistently for 3 or 4 days, and it helped. And I feel comfortable eating plants that have had neem oil on it, and or even BT is a natural occurring thing. And people even use dish soap and water or vinegar and like there's many natural remedies. The key to it is don't let it get to how mine got an infestation. You have to inspect your plants more readily. And again, when it's hot outside, it's hard when you're getting home late at night because of your business of your life, and then you can't go in the dark like a flat. Like this is ridiculous. So sometimes you do get busy, but you have to inspect the plants because you take a couple of days off and those bugs take off. But I like neem oil, and neem oil is good for your skin and good for anti-aging. So slap some on your face, on your neck, and keep that looking good. Yeah, Hans said he uses cold pressed neem oil. Exactly. So don't just buy. Yes, Georgia. AKA lady, Triple Threat is in Georgia. Yes. What's up with neem oil? I keep hearing neem oil. Oh, sorry. Okay, guys. The chat is all over. You know what? I've never tried putting neem oil in the rain barrel because I only had neem oil for the first time. But I have said on a live before, I have put cooking oil, again, just a teaspoon or a tablespoon in the barrel. So therefore, if I've used cooking oil and it stopped the mosquitoes, I would definitely say that the neem oil would work. Now, neem oil is a bit expensive, it depends on where you get it from. So it's up to you, but yes, it would work because you're allowing a film on top of the barrel. So yes, neem oil would work, but I have used like corn oil. Um, I use only olive oil, so sometimes I just take a little tablespoon and put it on there. Not much because I use the good stuff, the organic one. But yeah, or as I said, they use Dawn dish soap to wash animals after an oil spill in the ocean. So I'm okay with that. AKA lady, yeah, neem oil is the truth. It works as a natural repellent for or to keep the bugs when you have an infestation down. I've used it first time, love it. It good for your skin. I've been putting it on my skin too. And yeah, but definitely I would try it triple threat in the barrel. I don't think it's going to do any damage. I do not think. And make sure you're buying a good quality, like Hands in the Dirt said, good quality neem oil. Try to buy, find things that are done in a high quality factory. Don't just buy anything off the street. You have aphids, yeah, exactly. Aphids to spray, so the neem oil works and BT works. Whatever. There's more than one way to skin a cat, as they say, but you know, yeah, try it in the barrels. You want to collect rainwater, guys. You just don't want to now cause another problem in your garden of mosquitoes because I'm collecting rainwater. So just be conscious of sitting water sitting there is going to attract mosquitoes. Hands in the Dirt says he needs to spray. I've seen Japanese beetles. There's some beetles in my garden that are detrimental to my garden. And when I see them, I step on them or I slap them in my hands with the gloves on. But I haven't been on top of things because I'm trying to focus on other things. And I just made a choice to not let it bother me. So I'm focusing on the chicken coop, getting the hens, learning about eggs, and keeping the chickens healthy and worm-free and tick-free and lice-free, and growing as much food as I can, and building my soil, and having a water supply. Because right now I need more rain barrels myself. So some of you guys are talking about just get your rain barrels, because at least you have water. And if worse comes to worse, and you can filter that water to drink, you have that. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow. Even if you have a hurricane or a storm or a power outage, that may affect other things in your home. So just have an option. We have hot water in Jamaica, but we always have rain barrels. We have tap water, but we always have other water. You just don't know. So just have options. And I'm focusing also on potentially trying to see about the quail and greenhouse. Like I'm focusing on the greenhouse, covering my plants from those green groundhogs and animals. And that's my focus. All the insects, as long as you're not on my food, like the aphids and all those other beetles and on my fruit trees, I'm not even looking at you this year. I see flying ants taking over. I see some other animals living in. They have this year to enjoy themselves, and next year I'm going to deal with them. So let me see here. Something has gotten into my collars. I can't find the bugs, but something is. Well, if you can't find them, 9 times out of 10, you have a cabbage worm. And the cabbage worm is the exact shade of green as the leaf. So if you see brown dots in your colors, like brown dots just sitting on the stem between the leaves, you have cabbage worms. And so if you can shake your collar like it's a tree, so shake it, you might see green things flying off. They camouflage exactly the shade of green as the leaf, and you're going to see a fat, juicy. And the bigger they get, the bigger the droppings get. You're going to see black dots, visible black dots of their number 2. You have a cabbage worm. So you can shake them off. You can take the dish soap, the neem oil, all those other natural remedies. They work. But I don't want to touch. I see people touch the bug and they squeeze it with their bare hands. That's gross to me. I'm not that like in the garden yet. Like, yeah, I wanted to squeeze you with my bare. No, if I have gloves on, maybe. But even then, I shake them off and I just fling them with a broom and sweep them away. I spray them with BT, and what BT does is a natural bacteria. It fools the cabbage worm into thinking that they're full and they stop eating and they end up starving themselves. Something to that effect. Either way, get rid of them. And the cabbage worms came on your plant from this white butterfly looking thing. David Corey. Yes, BT. See, David is coming right here. He says, hey, but he's coming with the information. Yes, use BT. When you're growing a lot of food, Miss AKA Lady, sometimes you don't have the time to be sitting here fighting with these bugs. Like I'm telling you the truth. And some people want to act like they're all natural. Oh, I don't use nothing. That makes the food impure. Either you want to eat or you want to fight the bugs. BT is a short form for Basilicus, some kind of bacteria name. It's a long name. And you'll see it at the store. And it's natural. So I can, hey, D-Macro, I see you in the comment. But it's natural. Sometimes you do need help because this chair is just like, whoa, has me leaning. It's up to you what you want to do, but I'm not going to sit here and fight bugs all the time. I need to get food on the table. That was the whole point of me planting a garden. And I'm not going to be a purist, like, oh, only nothing. Just me and my gloves and my finger are going to kill every bug. And I'm not going to put nothing on there, just water and just. Some people say that to me. And I'm like, what do you use? Nothing. I think they were lying to me because there's no way. Unless you're going to cover your food with mesh. And I do that, but the aphids can still get through. So just don't let nobody judge you. I use BT. I think most of us do. BT is natural. Dish soap may not be natural, but you can use Castile soap. I think Castile soap will work as a soap and water bug deterrent. That's natural, but I straight up have used Dawn dish soap. That's what I have on my my counter. I've used vinegar because these are things that are readily available right in my kitchen. So I have used vinegar and water. And if you don't spray at night, do not spray during the daytime. Spray in the cool of the day in the evening. Because if you don't follow that instruction, the sun will hit the leaves and that substance will make your leaves cook and your plant just destroy your plant. So don't try to do things a different way. Do it that way. I'm with you. I can do little something with gloves on and hold. Yeah, I'm still squirming, but I'm like, I feel safe in the gloves. I'm with you. No bug guts. Yeah, it just looks. Okay, D Macro saying, hey. But yeah, just grow some food and find some solutions, especially natural ones. I'm for natural solutions. I'm not for people who say don't use nothing at all. That's not really realistic, especially if the environment is changing, if the weather is changing, whether due to natural occurrences or man-made intervention, that's going to affect the insects. And when I say affect, they may start to breed more frequently. They may be more infestations. There may be more detriment to the crops. You can't fight against nature when there's a bug infestation on a mass level. And that's also why I was mentioning we may have to start growing in a more controlled environment, in a greenhouse or a hoop house or a I think it's called a hoop house, an unheated shed or unheated greenhouse or whatever you want to call it, because the insects may be so much in certain years in the future that you can't keep up with spraying and stuff. You're going to have to try to keep the food in a room, in a greenhouse, and minimize the impact. Yeah, D Macro says using insecticidal soap on my bok choy because those little bugs are still. Yeah, you have to use something. The environment is changing and has changed from when our parents were gardening and growing food up until now. Some of the infestations that we have now, they didn't experience to this degree. I remember my parents not spraying nothing on the plants. And we didn't have all these holes in the leaves. A few here and there, but not to I can come out one morning and I literally have only the spines of the leaves of my cabbage. And I was wondering, I didn't even know about no cabbage worm. I didn't even know that existed. I thought that white butterfly was a beautiful thing. Now I realize that's a demon from hell. When you see that white butterfly now, I'm like, no. Mm-mm. So I have to cover everything with a mesh because for me, I can't commit to running out and checking my plants so regularly and spraying them down because I know during the summertime, my life gets very busy. I have time in the winter, but guess what? I live in a cold climate. There is no winter garden over here. It's grow indoors. So yeah, they're demons from hell. Those white butterflies are not your friend. I thought they were my friend, but I wasn't growing food at that time. Just at the step, yeah. So I use mesh. And if they get through the mesh or our aphids get through the mesh, then I spray. So have layers to your defense. You don't have to do it all now. As you start gardening and as you start, developing, you start investing in things a little more. And usually at the end of the season, you buy your stuff on clearance. So most people on this live will tell you at the end of the gardening season, I guess August, September, all the big box stores have their fertilizers on sale. I got my raised beds on sale at the orange store. People have like anything you want on sale, the mesh on sale, anything you need, you can get them on clearance if you're really sticking to a budget. So just work towards saying, okay, next year I'm going to have better things. And you start looking in the stores, July, end of July, August, and just keep popping into the big box stores and start seeing they marking down stuff that you want for your garden and start picking them up on sale. And then next spring, you're ready to go with some better stuff. Right now, I need to get 2 barrels, rain barrels. I have 2 already there. One has a crack. I'm not sure if it can be repaired. If it can, that's fine. And I'm going to get 2 more. So that I wanted it for this year, but I think the chickens are happening first. If I do get the rain barrels, that would be great. And then next year, I'll be having more rainwater. If water becomes an issue with this aerial spray that's coming into my neighborhood to spray these trees, if I realize that what they're doing is not good, I may invest in something. I don't know, maybe a finely ground charcoal powder to put a little bit in the rain barrel and stir it up and see if that will neutralize. I don't know. I'm just talking out loud. Maybe that would neutralize the any chemicals that's being sprayed. I'm just saying, because I don't have the means right now to start looking at how to build a filtration system for the rain barrels when I'm trying to filter my water in my house so that I'm actually drinking. So that's what I'm saying. Make a list of things that are like issues for you or that you're thinking about and just start tackling them one by one. But I think what we all need to start thinking about is the weather. We're all getting some crazy weather. Even if you're in a hot climate, it's hotter than usual. If you need to get shade cloth to make your crops grow better, then get your shade cloth. If you don't have any trees on your property to kind of shade the plants naturally, I have some trees from my neighbors. So I can plant in certain spots and provide natural shade from a tree or from the overhang of a shed or from a shadow. But some of you guys don't have that. You have just a big open yard, no trees. Buy the shade cloth. Buy it on sale. Keep your eye on it on Amazon. Put it on your wish list. You don't have to spend it, but you have to start thinking about things that are going to increase your food production, make your life easier, and help you adapt. Most people say to me, "Oh, I don't have a green thumb. I can't grow food." You better find something to grow. Straight up. Even if you buy fruit trees or trees, because it's coming to a point. Things. I'm not fear mongering. I'm not a fear monger. I'm just a realist. I don't trust the food in the stores. I don't trust what they're spraying on the food. I don't trust that they have my best interest. We already know that. They're not concerned about Urban Gardening Chronicles when they're planting food and selling food. Oh, I want to make sure that she has a healthy food. They don't give 2 craps about me. They don't even know me. They're concerned about the bottom dollar. It's my responsibility to be concerned about my health and to make my life as long and fruitful as possible. That's what I'm worried about. So I need to grow. For me, it's growing my own food. And it's also ensuring that I'm getting the best quality vegetables as I can, highly nutritious, because most of the food that we're getting is not nutritious. It's dead food because the soil is dead and they're relying on commercial grade fertilizers. And the food is bigger and growing faster, but it's not nutritious. And there is a difference. And Planter always explained that. So if you want to know, watch Planter's videos. He goes through that. I didn't know shade cloth was a thing. It's well into the 90s here. Yeah, shade cloth is a thing. So check it out. It's like a black meshy thing, and shade cloth comes in different levels. So ones that block out 30% of the sun or 40% of the sun, or more than 50. Depends on how hot and how the angle of the sun in your area. But yeah, get a shade cloth. Plants need shade too. Same way how you need a shade hat when you're out in the sun. Your plants need some. Otherwise, you may be all that work may have been in vain. So I'm going to end because I've been ending for about 20 minutes, which is pretty good. I've been keeping to a better time. So we'll talk again next week. I might go live. I might do a pop up in the week now that I have the phone working, just to show, garden, or maybe not. I think I'll just stick to Saturday just so I can get my stuff planted, the chicken coop completed, record a couple of clips of me doing the chicken coop to get that up and out there. But have a good week, guys. I'm gonna see you in these streets because I'm gonna be, different lives. Oh, what I do want to mention, David Corey with the crop. You mentioned something. We were discussing something last week on Planters Live about you mentioned vitamin D because we're talking about vitamin D, and then you said, "Oh, the plants have vitamin D." I said, "Well, not really." Anyways, I did some more research on the vitamin D. So yes, we are correct. Mushrooms have a high level of vitamin D, and certain things are well known. Fish oils, Thank you, African. But I saw an article that there is some new research being done, and scientists have noted that plants may have vitamin D. But what they are you still here, David? Hope you're still here, so you hear this. But what they did notice is that they determined that tomato plants may have vitamin D, but only in the leaves and the stem. The actual fruit, I think, is still questionable. So unless we're eating the leaves of some of the plants that we're growing or making a tea out of them, I don't think we're drawing from the vitamin D. But they haven't really proven or determined if there's vitamin D in the leaves. So you had mentioned that, and it got me thinking. So I did do some research. I think you could be kind of right, but I don't think it's maybe the way that we think. And they're doing more research. But if we're eating the leaves of the trees and like people eat soursop leaves, Jamaican sour, like certain things, we may benefit from vitamin D because, as I said in that live, that's where the photosynthesis is happening. That's where it's happening in the leaves. But many times we eat the fruit of the trees, but not the leaves. So maybe the vitamin D hasn't been scientifically studied from the leaves and the bark and the stems. So I'm gonna keep keeping my eye on that information. But that was good, David. You got me thinking, and that's the thing about having a dialogue. You get each other thinking. But for sure, fish oils, fatty fish, and mushrooms high in vitamin D. And if you guys don't eat mushrooms, it's not your cup of tea, try it. And you can buy the powdered mushrooms that you can put in your coffee or your hot chocolate. And that's going to give you, please do your research. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional. This is not medical advice. I'm just telling you what I've been reading and learning and what I'm taking, because even though the pandemic is over, it's very important that you build your immune system, especially those of us who are above 35, and we're going to be hitting 40 or 50 soon. And it's harder for your body to fight against these invisible enemies that are being created and released into the population. We'll say that. And now the new one is monkey polka dots. Keep your immune system up. There's a term called G bombs. Let me type it in the chat. G bombs. And it stands for greens, beans, onions. So I have to think about it while I'm typing it. Onions, mushrooms, something, and seeds. Greens, beans, onions. Berries. Yep, sorry, it took me more. Sorry, berries and seeds. Sorry, guys. Sometimes this is what you need to make sure you have highly in your diet. It's very good for healing, and your immune system. But yes, sorry, back to the chat. I'm going to, I am closing it off. But again, sometimes the close off take a little longer. Making tea out of the leaves, that was a goal. Yes, make tea. So maybe we are getting vitamin D. I can't confirm that. It may be possible, but even without vitamin D, there's a lot of nutrients in the leaves. So you can still get your vitamin D from mushrooms, from your vitamins, D3, your fish oils, and sunshine. Be outside with sunshine and fresh air. Marlon saying, just like in carrot leaves, it can be eaten. Yeah, I eat my carrot tops. I juice them. The radish tops, turnip tops, the beet tops, all of that. I'm eating raw, or I'm cooking, or I'm juicing them, or I'm putting them in the blender with smoothies. Okay, thanks, Triple Threat. Yeah, I try to give information. We got to keep healthy. So try to, some people have certain diet that they've been raised with. Sweet potato leaf, yes, any leaf, broccoli leaf, kohlrabi leaf, cauliflower leaf, even the cabbage leaf. People take off those outer leaves and just keep the head. Me eating all of it, all of it. That's all absorbed nutrients from it. Some people eat the green on the strawberries. I've never done that, but you know what? The ones that I grew in my garden, I'm gonna start eating the whole strawberry, even the green top. Like, but yeah, the G bombs, guys. You need to. This is somebody called. He's vegetarian or plant based, but he uses the term nutritarian. And the point is that we should have a nutrient rich diet. The term vegan and all these terms are not really, some of the vegan foods are made out of a lab. They're not even real food, but they're vegan. They're not killing any animals. But there's nothing natural in those burgers and those fakey uh, Frank Frankenstein foods, Franken foods. They're fake. So some of these terms are not the right terms. You need to eat nutritarians believe in nutritious food. And if you want to eat animal products, that's your business. I'm not telling nobody what to do, but dairy is most times not your friend. Yeah, broccoli leaf, kohlrabi leaf, beet leaf, and I think I heard okra leaves. And I know Jamaican sorrel leaf is supposed to be good to make curry. So you're gonna see me eating some sweet potato leaf, sweet potato vine, even the tops. I'm growing potatoes for the first time, and the tops. I wonder if I can eat them. Marlon saying he's a professional chef, so I research a lot of stuff trying to remove meat from my diet without losing. Exactly. And I haven't removed meat, but I do eat meat very in. I would say once a week. Like when I say meat, I'm talking about like beef, chicken, turkey, and then fish is most of my other uses of. So I had meat last night because I went to a function and it was chicken. Sunday, I usually was my day to have meat, so I may have meat again, but I'm not too sure because I feel like my stomach feels a little today because of the meat. Because I try to buy high quality meat. Some people just buy whatever, and my body is not liking it. Not because of the meat, because of other stuff. Yeah, broccoli leaf. Yeah, when you grow a broccoli plant, there's leaves, and I'm growing Brussels sprouts for the first time. I eat everything, not just the broccoli head. Eat everything. It's probably not a bad idea to use the outer leaves of our homegrown veggies in soups too. Exactly. And cut them up, wash them, cut them up, and freeze them. When you want to have greens in your smoothie, put that in your smoothie. Yeah. So sometimes, oh, it's vegan, it's plant based. No, meat doesn't have any. Well, that's another topic, David. You always bring up these topics at the end of the live. I don't think meat has nutritions per se. I know they say, okay, oh, protein, protein. You can get protein from beans and other things. So you don't need to eat meat to have proteins. But there is something in meat that you can't get from plant based. And I believe it's some kind of enzyme. And I believe it's also but do you have to eat meat? No, you do not have to eat meat at all. You don't have to eat meat. You can be healthy and just eat ital food. But for those of you who choose and want to eat meat, um, you don't have to eat meat every day, first of all. You don't have to eat meat for every single meal, first of all. You need to make better choices of the type of meat and how often you eat the meat. But I'm not telling anyone to stop eating meat, but I stopped eating chicken when I see that chicken breast was weighing. Yeah, because that's Franken food. They might inject the thing with same thing. If people who've been growing their own food and growing it for the proper time and not force feeding them and force ripening them, people like that, they don't have the health problems. But most of us aren't growing our own meat, our own livestock. We're relying on the food industry, the agricultural industry, and they're taking shortcuts. They don't care. They don't care. So You know, do your own research, but I'm moving towards, yes, Miss Audrey saying she eats less. Yeah, I'm eating less meat. I don't need to eat meat every, like, once and twice a week is more than enough. I'm eating salads raw. I'm eating cooked vegetable. I do eat eggs, and I'm not gonna stop eating eggs. Like, you know, some people, I'm not gonna get on to this ITAL thing. Well, I'm ITAL-ish, but people who say, oh, nothing from an animal, like they don't eat butter. What's wrong with eating butter if you didn't kill the animal? So is it about, like, what is this vegan and plant-based thing really about, is what I'm trying to ask. Because if it's about not killing an animal, what's wrong with me eating butter, cheese, milk if I choose to? I don't eat milk, and eating honey. What's wrong with that if I'm not killing the animal? So is it really about animal rights, or is it about something else? Because if I'm raising a chicken and not killing it and letting it live its full life and eating eggs, what's wrong with that? I'm just asking a question, but not for today. We'll have to talk about it another time. They say it has protein. That's the meat. Yeah, I know protein. Not even veggies. I've been having spirulina. Is it spirulina? I can't remember, but there's one green that has so much protein in it, and I think it's spirulina or it's moringa. Anyways, I'm taking all of them. Exactly. You don't have to have protein. Meat does have protein, but they're acting like you can only get protein from meat. That's not true. Lentils, beans, and greens. I definitely believe that. Chicken's looking like turkey. Exactly. Turkeys nowadays. And I do believe we eat too much meat. When you look at the fast food restaurants and look at things that you were prone to buy. Every meal had sausage in this. Lunch is chicken nugget, like nuggets, deep fry this. Every wrap has meat in it. Like everything is meat, 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 meat. Back in the day, fast food was a luxury. Meat was a luxury. You ate meat because you had to grow the animal to maturity and then butcher it, freeze it, and keep it or cure it. So you weren't eating meat for breakfast and lunch and dinner. And you weren't eating meat every single day because people didn't have that kind of budget for that. So how do we go from that to now morning, noon, and night, meat, 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 meat? And the most deadly thing is sugar. But I think next week we'll talk about like sugar. So keep your mind open and maybe do some research. Gorillas strong and big, no meat. Exactly. Gorillas, who else? Giraffes. Many animals are vegetarian. You don't need meat. We just meat, fish, and poultry is good for cell. Yeah, like I know there's some good things in meat. I just don't think we need to eat meat every day. That's something that you can get once a week or less. Sugar is the devil. I see that. Yes, sugar is the devil. How many knew fried chicken was an Asian dish? That's who brought chicken to America. I I'm not sure. Maybe you're right. I'm not sure if chickens were in other countries as well before. I'm not sure. But anything fried is not for you. So I know the American diet. Maybe I'm stereotyping. Oh, before I forget, happy Father's Day to all the fathers out there and all the father figures out there. I didn't even say that today. Sorry, I forgot. My throat, sorry. Have a wonderful day. Some of you guys have a hard time because maybe your father's not here, so it's not a happy time for you. And those who are still bereaved, you know, hopefully you can have a good day. I know sometimes these things are not a happy time. It's a sad time because of a reminder. And for those of you who do Juneteenth, celebrations to you. I forgot to mention that. Sorry, excuse me. I didn't even know about Juneteenth until recently, so I don't even know the significance of it fully. I know the significance, but I've heard some negative comments from the community about Juneteenth, which I don't know. So I'll bring that up next week, the Juneteenth and what it means historically and what it is. So hopefully you guys can come back. Sorry, I didn't mention that, but yes, excuse me for forgetting. So enjoy your Father's Day. So yes, and then the aged sugar's a devil. Cured meat with salt at one time. Salt seems to draw something out of the meats. Right. I didn't know that, but I'm gonna start. I just know that we do things culturally, and it had some benefits. See, I don't know. I didn't know I talked so much. I've been doing 3 hour lives for weeks now. Hold on, let me take my coffee, but I don't want to show the logo of the cup because no free advertising over here. Hold on. Jamaican bring fried chicken on the global market. Then America take it over. But Jamaican fried chicken is not the same as I don't know. But then we have barber fry and different fry. But even like my Jamaican culture, I don't fry up everything. Everything that we cook is fried. Even escabeche is fried. Fried fish is fried. Like we need to like brown it, but not with all that oil and stuff. It's not good for us guys. D Macro saying yes, sugar is not good. And what we don't realize is many of the things that we purchase have already been sweetened. And then we go and add sweetener to it because we're accustomed to it being a certain level of sweetness, and that's not good. Even the milk that people feed their children, I did not realize until it was advertised, I think, with some chef that they sweeten the cow's milk in the cartons of milk. So your kids and we get accustomed to a certain level of sweetness. Then when we have something that's not sweet, it's not we don't like it. And then you give your kids chocolate milk. So the milk is sweetened, then you buy them chocolate syrup to sweeten the milk, or that when I was a kid, that pink powder to make it like pink milk. And like sugar, 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 sugar. That's not good. They grill more in Jamaica. Yes. And yes, guys, have a happy Father's Day. The society wants to eliminate fathers and knock down fathers, and fathers are an important part of the family dynamic, and we're not going to erase fathers over here. Those who have an ear can hear. So those of you who have fathers and father figures, make a point to celebrate and big them up and let them know that they're valued and important, because fathers are important. In everything, as I said, yin and yang, fathers, mothers. They sweeten everything at an early age so that we can get sick and buy pharmaceuticals. It's part of the plan. Laughing in my wicked, yeah. Mr. Burns. Yeah. So everything that we buy is sweetened. And for me, that's unacceptable. We should have things unsweetened, and then it should be our job or our choice how much sweetener that we want. So how do you water down milk? Do you add water? Because you can't get unsweetened milk. So how do you like tone it down? Like I know you can water down juice, but you're not. It's not. Yeah, and grandfather. Yeah, fathers. Pick up to all the fathers, man. Yeah. So just be conscious. I am intending to talk about sugar. I don't think we realize how dangerous it is and how addictive it is. Sugar is addictive. It's as addictive as crack cocaine. And they've proven that the withdrawal symptoms of sugar is just as bad. Can you imagine? Crack cocaine. So, I found alternative sweeteners. Again, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical practitioner, but there are other sweeteners out there that you can use that are not processed refined white sugar and whatever. Please try to find out some of those things, because some cultures are more predisposed to diabetes and to other things than other people. Sugar is a drug. Yeah. Everything, like I don't mind a little sugar in my tea here and there. I don't mind a little, but we're not practicing moderation because everything is sweetened. Coke, oh, I should have said that word. Soda pop is sweet. Milk is sweetened. You buy yogurt, those who guys who eat probiotic yogurt or even kefir or any of those natural things, it's sweetened. Even if you drink kombucha, they have to put sugar in it because it won't ferment unless you have a bit of sugar. So there's sugar in kombucha. There's sugar in all the juices that you purchase. If you want a fresh pressed juice that says fresh press, but it's prepackaged, it's probably been sweetened and it's been pasteurized. So they've killed all the end. Like there's layers. Ultimately, it goes back to grow your food. If you can't grow it, try to buy the best quality from a local farmer or the best grade that you can. Eat fresh food, freshly cooked food. If you're gonna have juice, try to make your own pressed juice or blend your smoothie. Agave. I have stevia. I use coconut sugar. I'm Canadian, so maple syrup is on my list as well. I use Monk fruit sweetener, that's supposed to be very good. Um, Brown demerara sugar that hasn't been processed as much. Um, Agave nectar, yes, I think there's some negative news on agave, but do your research. And some natural teas have like hibiscus tea and all rose hip tea. There's a natural sweetness in that. You shouldn't have to add too much sugar. And try to start drinking teas that have more fruit in it and not adding sugar at all or less sugar. Because it'll once you get your taste kind of used to it, you won't require it. If you usually get a double coffee, try, one sugar, two milks, or two creams. And then just taper, wean yourself down. I'm not saying just wean yourself down, and things that you cook and bake with, and even bread has sugar and a lot of sugar. So I love bread, and I started to make my own bread at the bread machine, and I started adding honey to my bread. I wasn't using sugar, and the bread was fine. But even bread has sugar, and you're training your kids to be used to a certain level of sweetness. And then when they go out, they want that same, and they're like, oh, the food don't taste. I did not know, for all my Caribbean people out here in this life, that people put sugar in their rice and peas. I never knew in my born days. I never knew that. It's only now me realize that's why I'm like, why the food tastes so good, so addictive. I don't put sugar in my rice and peas. I shouldn't have to sweeten it. If I do, maybe a honey, but between the thyme and the seasonings and the scallion and the flavoring, why am I adding sugar to rice and peas? Then, which is fine. If you want to add sugar a little bit to that's fine. But people are compensating the flavor by using a lot of sugar because they don't want to use the seasonings. So when you go to a Caribbean restaurant, there's no thyme leaf in my rice and peas. I don't see any scallion. I don't see any like flavoring. They make the rice and peas. They use some kind of powdered something, and then they lace it with sugar, and then you're like, oh, the food's so good. A lie. Yes, bread turns into sugar when it. No, but people when they bake the bread, they're putting it pure. Yes, it turns into sugar, but they're breaking down because they're not using coconut milk. Or they are using the coconut milk powder or the liquid. I'm telling you, they're taking shortcuts. But I know people who've been. I'm like, you put sugar, and they put sugar in their tomato sauce, their spaghetti sauce. But I'm like, if you're not making it from scratch, I know you put sugar to cut the acidic nature, but if you're using canned sauce that's already been sweetened, they're pouring the sugar in the canned sauce. So now you have like triple the amount of sugar. If you're making it from scratch, I know you do add a bit just to cut that, but a little bit. No, no, no. They're adding okay, I am now ending because now it's 11:15. So let me go through the last of the chat, and that's it. So stevia, monk fruit, yes, all of that, coconut sugar. Please look into all that and try to wean yourself off. Even the desserts we enjoy have mountains of sugar when you consider that some of them use ingredients that have, yes, they use ingredients that have already been sweetened and they're adding sugar to the recipe. I used to eat a lot of salt. Now there's too much salt. Yeah, I don't eat salt anymore that much, Nikki, as well, because same thing, it's dangerous. Even honey now is still, yeah, because it's not real honey. It's corn syrup and all kind of stuff. Real honey does crystallize, though, Marlin. Real authentic honey also does crystallize, not just the fake honey, because it depends where the bees got the nectar, the pollen from. It all depends. Honey has variations. Yeah, because they want, yeah. So even though you eat food that's quote unquote cooked food, they're lacing it with sugar. Yes, yes, bread turns to sugar, but they also are lacing the bread with sugar. And I had to start making sure I'm buying bread that has no sugar added and it's made with filtered water. And that bread generally doesn't taste good. Like it's brown whole wheat, rye, like it's healthy bread. And most kids ain't gonna want to eat that. And the sugary foods contribute to hyperactivity of yes, and obesity. Childhood obesity is a real problem. I do put a little sugar in my collard greens though. Look at her side eye. I don't. Not because I've never thought of it. I just assume that greens should be eaten as is, maybe some salt and pepper, I've never even thought to put sugar. So maybe that's like an American thing. I didn't know people put sugar in their greens. I know there's a whole argument on these streets about sugar and grits. And they're like, oh, sugar and grits is porridge. But isn't grits porridge? Or I think we call it turn con. And I don't like turn corn because it has no flavor unless you put like the gravy from your meat on it. But I'm sorry, I think that's another Pandora's box, grits and sugar on grits. Oh, don't come for me. Don't come for me. The rice and peas in the restaurants in Jamaica is so horrible. No, exactly, because they're not cooking it like grandma cooked it. They want to do a fast track thing and then lace it with bread is my weakness. Girl, don't even get me going. Me and garlic bread and cheese bread. Yeah. But yeah, Jamaica, you would think when you go down there you get the good food. You get the good food from people who are cooking it in the family, like your relatives, but not from the restaurant. Them a cut corner. Thanks for dropping the link again. I love bread. And I talked to my naturopath. I said, you can't give me a diet without bread. Like, how am I gonna feel full without bread? Like, even if I have a healthy breakfast, I have a piece of toast. So she goes, okay. So she made an allowance for me. Basically, I have to stop eating bread at 3 o'clock. And rye bread, sourdough bread, um, bread that's been fermented, like from ferment, like that kind of process. So rye, sourdough bread, with grains and seeds and flaxseed and all that stuff in there. She made an allowance for me to do because I was like, nah, man. I was told, Marlon, and again, I'm not saying I know, but I always go back and research that because I have honey from Jamaica that I brought back from my uncle's hive. So I know where it came from. There's nothing in it but natural honey. And it did crystallize. And I also have a bottle from Jamaica that did not crystallize, but that honey is bitter honey because the bees were taking the pollen from the bitter wood, called bitterwood. So that particular honey, a certain time of year, is very bitter, but that's an excellent honey to clean your system because honey is microbial. So that's why I'm saying it. And I know for a fact from research, grade A honey will crystallize because no honey batch is the same. Bees are always going around collecting from different flowers, and different flowers are seasonal. So depending on that, it depends on the end result, and it depends on the hive. So I know what you're saying because that's the notion that if it's fake honey, that means it crystallizes. That means it was fake. Some honey does not crystallize and it's still fake because they've mixed corn syrup and this and that, and it's shipped from here, there, and everywhere to pass the grade A test, and it's not grade A. Yeah, I got honey locally. It cost me a pretty penny, but that helped me, especially when I wasn't feeling well. I had a cough. I just take a tablespoon of honey and a piece of garlic in there and just eat it. And yeah, Lashes, you're my superstar. Love, yes. Oh, what happened to the chat? Oh, something froze up. Um, Hold on. Give me a second here. Okay. It's an American thing. Okay, this is you're talking about the grits, but I don't co-sign it. Girl, we put sugar in everything. Yeah. Polenta is full of flavor, especially if I cook it. I've seen polenta cooked with like seasonings, like stuff. We call it turn corn, right? No sugar in rice or grits. But this is what I'm saying. If you're gonna have polenta, or I call it polenta, that's because I have Portuguese friends, or we call it turn corn in Jamaica, ton con. What makes it taste good is having a side of something with gravy, because eating it by itself to me is like not an enjoyable thing. So I don't know why there's this whole war in America over grits and if I'm having shrimp and grits and having like a Cajun style, because I watch this guy on YouTube, I love this Cajun style, then the grits taste good because I have the shrimp gravy on there. But to say don't put sugar on grits, that's porridge. Well, people be putting sugar in rice. So exactly, what's the difference? Like that's why people are eating the food. No sugar in rice or grit. But yeah, I think if you use scallion, onion, thyme, all the herbs, food have to be cooked with love. Exactly, that too. They're not cooked with no love again. It's a whole debate. Yeah, there's a whole war on YouTube. If you even say that you have sugar on grits, they come for you. They come to your house and want to fight you. Like, what are you talking about? Calm down. But Fake honey crystallizes too. All raw honey will crystallize due to, yes. So don't make nobody fool you and say, oh, it's crystal. Because I bought honey from people and they said, oh, don't buy it from them because it crystallized. That means it's fake. Not true. Especially if the person, you can go to their home, especially you're in Jamaica, Marlon. I think you're in Jamaica right now on an extended trip. You go make sure you have, well, I think you're in America though. I'm not sure if you can bring honey from Jamaica to America, but I know you can bring it to Canada. But if you can, make sure you go find a beekeeper and get some honey, so you can bring it back. And bring it back in a plastic bottle, because I brought mine back in the Ray and Nephew bottles. And now that it crystallizes, I'm going to have to either heat it up to get it out, or just, I have a long chopstick that I'm digging it in and just taking it out like that. But it's very hard to get it out. Or put it in a wide mouth jar, because that's what screwed me over. The Ray and Nephew bottle, as you know, is a skinny neck, and I should have poured it off when I came back. I have some honey from years back. It's been, but it's still good. I'm never throwing that away, ever. Honey is one of the best natural, and yes, natural antioxidants. It balances out flavors for me, not a ton of it, just a little. Oh, I think the salt or the sugar. Nikki be eating sweet greens. So that's it. Okay, I got through the chat, guys. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. Let's build this community, guys, this gardening and I guess kind of prepping and just self-sufficiency community. Thanks for stopping by. You'll see me in these YouTube streets. If you're not subscribed and liking and watching the videos, please do so. I'm out supporting your guys' videos as well. I have some wasps on my house trying to. I did not know that there's counterfeit honey. Wasps and some other bees making some. Ugh, yeah, there's some things going on. There's honey bees and there's other kind of bees. Pass the cornbread. Nikki says, pass the cornbread. So have a good week. Enjoy your Father's Day. Enjoy your Juneteenth. I want to talk about that Juneteenth next week, because I can read the facts in the book, but I'm pretty sure, there's other aspects, and we'll talk about sugar. Try this week again. We're doing the challenge of try to eat out your freezer. I haven't documented it, but I am eating out my freezer, but I'm just trying to get the videos out there for gardening and get the lives done and stuff and get my garden stuff set up. So excuse me, I'm not just talking and not keeping my word. I am eating out the freezer and trying to use the old food first. We mentioned in the challenge, try to get mostly glass containers and try to stop storing your food in plastic containers. No, judgment, just try your best. And for this week, we're trying again now. For those of you, try to find alternatives to sweeteners and try to find solutions to severe weather, extreme hots and extreme colds, and how we're going to grow and how you're going to build infrastructure in your garden, and start making a list of things you want to tackle and find things on sale and try to improve. But no judgment zone here, guys. We're just here to encourage each other, give each other ideas and a different way of thinking, so that you can take that to your community and try to improve. And that's about it, guys. Have a wonderful week, and share your love with your fathers. If you don't have a father, try to celebrate somebody. And if it's a hard time for you because of you're still grieving, sometimes it's a hard time for people. I hope that you can get through and this difficult time and just find some positives, because it's not easy. There's certain times of year are not easy for me either. Do what you can to keep yourself at peace and keep yourself, you got to step away from people and the crowds. It's fine. And then just come back and reconnect with your group of people. And next week, same place, same time. Again, if all goes well, and we'll build this community and build the channel. Peace out.